Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Of money, nearly $1.5 million, and prosecutors say that it all started with a postal worker stealing it from the mail that they're delivering to houses, then sold to one of the organizers running this operation. So let me break it down for you. Now, this prosecutors say that Tristan Vaughn recruited 3 postal carriers to steal checks from their routes: Catherine Kilpatrick, Dracker Alexander, and Malcolm Jobert. They say Alyssa Bryant then worked with Vaughn to buy and resell those stolen checks. And just look at this money right here. Prosecutors tied these 3 checks to 3 postal workers. The biggest one, more than $1.5 million, is tied to Jobert. The indictment says that the checks were then put up for sale on Telegram through a channel called Slips and Chips and shipped to buyers using FedEx. And this is a number right here. Federal prosecutors say it all adds up to nearly $24 million in stolen checks acquired and sold. Now back out here live right now, we are digging into more of these court records, court documents, and the moment I get more information in the next hour, I'll pass it along.
$24 million. These are the same people handling our mail-in ballots. You know, our guest today is Kyle Seraphin, and by the way, we're going to wreck it Ralph today. We're going to do a bunch of conversations about, you know, where are we? And over the weekend, I wrote this thing, and I went back and forth with the idea of, am I writing this to President Trump? Am I writing it to the people? We saw as people got attacked. General Flynn got attacked. Lots of people got attacked, and there was a post that I put up. I don't see it here. I don't see it in the list of stuff, where I talked about whether or not I had to agree with everyone. And I don't. I don't agree with everyone. And I think one of my biggest issues that I have is that everyone tells me that I have to walk a certain line. I gotta support a certain person. I gotta be okay with Team Evil, as long as they're from a certain country. That I'm not allowed to criticize them, and if I do, dog whistles get thrown at me like it's just a thing, like it's just the way we're supposed to operate. And I wrote this deal, and I want to read it to you. And I said, no, I don't have to hate people because 47 hates or disagrees with them. This is not high school, and you're not 14. FFS, if you don't know what that means, it's for freak's sake. How about you be academic about things and just have a little bit of maturity, or fuel the argument and try not to figure out how to get this squashed? Now, we would rather have Dan Bongino, the paper tiger Zero, be the arbiter of reality. Sure, in the end, I will exit this life knowing I stood when most did not, and I fought while cosplay patriots failed to think for themselves for even once in their miserable lives. Ever think the people in the circle caused this mess in the first place? I mean, chaos always favors the op, not the people. But yeah, sure, let's fight over MAGA while we go into the election with the fraudulent machines intact, and Save America Act discarded as 85% of the American people want it. That is surely representative government at its finest, or slavery. But hey, the pesky truth is always so inconvenient. I'm sick of the trust us, bro. Just trust us, bro. Trust us. I put this up. I said, hey, look, we're in a war. And it's not a soft war anymore. We're in an all-out foreign invasion by Team Evil. This goes through the mail-in voting update. Has a good explanation, folks, on the legal process here, a solid resource for readers. And it shows you the 3 things: all mail-in voting when all of those states have basically been captured. And then it says, excuse required, the ones that are there. By the way, those are all red states that you see that are kind of lined up there. And then you have the no excuse required on the medium blue or green, sorry, the green, depending on what screen I'm looking at, that you could they just send out mail-in ballots. And Rasmussen put out a poll about the midterms and about cheating. So I want to put that up real quick as well. And then we're going to have Kyle kind of, before I go through a few of these, how likely is it we have widespread cheating that will affect the outcome of this fall's congressional elections? It's likely. Men say 60% say absolutely. Women 60%. White say 54%. Black says 63%. Hispanic 74%. Dems 50%. Independents 57%. GOP 73%. All voters 59%. I want to point out something if I can. The American people in a representative government would get access to the levers of power. But we have no levers of power anymore. We have no levers of power that favors the people. You have a judiciary that is largely rotted to the core. And we've asked for Trump to do something about it. Do something about it. But then I had to have that lead into another post that I put up, and this is a post about a federal judge who, by the way, whose parents were born in Punjab, India, who came here. You see all these foreigners, by the way, as judges that are standing against President Trump, standing against the American people. It's become we're not even living in a country that favors the American people. People come here and they steal what people have been sacrificing for generations. Generations of Americans that have spilled blood on this soil to get rid of slavery, to fight for civil rights, to do the things that took white Americans that have been here for generations to do that. But the people that are fighting now, the people that are calling us all racist, these people are not. They're not Americans. Now they're tugboat Americans. They're people that just showed up here and said we're going to turn it into the shithole of which we came from. So go ahead and put this post up. They did not lose an election. They built a machine that never had to win one. Judge Indira Tawani is standing in the way of free and fair elections. I will call that treason and a betrayal of the American people. The architecture is the engine, mail-ins are the gas, a dark box, no chain of custody, ballots you cannot trace names that are not allowed to see. USPS finally said, turn over the list or these ballots do not go out. Judge Indira Tawani. Sorry, I had to shake my head a little bit. Obama's pick killed it before the ink dried. Judge Tawani is not confused. She is a mechanic. She will call you crazy for wanting a list, and they will call her honorable for hiding it. That's not democracy. That is a weapon. And that is how we turn a free people into slaves who still get to pretend they voted. Look at her. The robe is not justice. It's a cover. And we went and looked it up. Her parents were not neighbor born. They both migrated to the U.S. Her father was born in India. He earned a degree from Delhi University before moving abroad for graduate work. Probably got that for free too. Eventually settling in the U.S. for his PhD at, guess what, Columbia. Guess what Columbia is? Columbia is the CIA headquarters for education. Her mother, Anne Elizabeth, was born in Germany in 1936. She's also the American-born daughter of an Indian immigrant father and a German immigrant mother. So that leads me into, kind of the bar and the judiciary, which, by the way, is the biggest issue. Bukele was, who's the president of Brazil, said if you don't get rid of the activist judges that are destroying everything, they will literally stand in the way and just bide their time. David Clements put up a post about the bar and attorneys and judges. He said the straw man argument for the existence of the bar is the notion that judges and attorneys are necessary to regulate their own profession for ethical breaches. The only thing these judges and attorneys are interested in is regulating political speech they disagree with. The solution is simple. The profession should be regulated by public citizens, not a board or another layer of bureaucracy, rather focusing on common law tort action already on the books, negligence, legal malpractice, etc. Harm or lie to a client, you should be sued like any other profession. Expand protections for pro se litigants to file away. The day that people understand they can sue without resorting to the micromanagement of an insurance carrier or inept attorney, only there for the billable hour as their best shot in front of a jury of their peers, will be a good day. We're headed towards a war, everyone. We're headed towards a war. Are you prepared for it? Are you prepared for the war? And I'm done. And I'm not going to get upset about it anymore. I don't think there's any reason to get upset about it. At the end of the show, I'll go ahead and read to you what article I'm putting out on Substack. I'm going to put it out there so that we can read it. It is a letter to the president, but it says I don't have to agree with you. And actually, the sign of what others are agreeing with and the fact that they can build this bully pulpit to tell people to shut up, slave, get in line, means that the left and the right are carrying the same stick. And I told you before, I'll support President Trump. He's you know what? He's gone through enough that I'll give him that respect. But respect does not allow for loyalty to be dictated by silence. I will not be silent. Actually, there's a lot of Americans that don't want to be silent. There's a judiciary that's so rotted to the core that everything it touches is shit. And the people that are in it are some of the biggest, most evil human beings you're going to find. And I keep being told that the judiciary, there's good parts of it, then it needs to speak up. It needs to speak up and throw out the bad parts. But everywhere you turn, that's never the case. Here's a post that I put up about Eric Coomer. This is in direct correlation to more data that came out. Eric Coomer, there's so much to draw back to Dominion and the people who defrauded the American people for nearly 2 decades. Tina Peters exposed federal voting fraud, was imprisoned for it. She provided voters with unmatched federal whistleblower testimony of it. And yet, with the recordings show that they did nothing but cover it up. Covered it up. We're at that place where I've already made my decision. I've already smelled the dirt, but I'm not going to do any more of that. I'm going to go ahead and bring Kyle in. Kyle, lots to talk about. We could start with Dan Bongino. Maybe we could just talk about the Kabuki Theater or the $40 trillion in debt, or the fact that everyone on both sides of the aisle are just dog shit. You choose.
So uplifting today. How about we talk about Columbia University as a CIA portal?
Absolutely. Yeah, Jeffrey Sachs, the Millennium Project, first discovered back for me back in 2008, 2009. He ran and said he was going to eliminate poverty across Africa, worked with people like Bill Gates over there and doing experiments on people like human pincushions. And then, I was sent to go check and see whether these Millennium Villages were even existent. So you have all these white papers about how much great things that they're doing. And then I show up and there's nothing there. It didn't exist. It was all fake. All of it was fake. There was never any distribution network and channel vendors that were delivering products. It didn't exist. There weren't fields of food that they were delivering to different countries. They had 7 villages, $6 billion. I was on the BBC talk radio and I was like, yeah, you overvalue education and undervalue competency and common sense. None of this is true. It's a ruse. You spent $6 billion on what exactly? That was Jeffrey Sachs, the same Jeffrey Sachs, by the way, who came out and talked about how now he's an expert in elections. He's not. He's a CIA stooge. And the entire organization is built to basically fool and destroy the American people. That's what I thought. That's what I think.
I had this instinct when you were saying that. I was listening to you, so I had to double check myself. I was like, didn't Bill Barr's dad work at Columbia, and wasn't he a CIA guy? And I was wrong. I was actually incorrect. He was in OSS. He was in the precursor to the CIA before there was a CIA, and then he was a dean, I think, of their engineering college. And that's Donald Barr, who ended up hiring Jeffrey Epstein and put him in the Dalton School, which he didn't have any business being at. And then he ended up going into Bear Stearns and becoming the Jeffrey Epstein financier guy. So all that's really weird. And then I was like, well, what about Bill Barr? Oh yeah, Bill Barr worked at the CIA. Yeah, his son worked at the CIA, and he was also a 2-time Columbia grad as well. So there you go. There you got an OSS guy that went to Columbia. It doesn't mean things. It just means like, you see enough of these sort of common trends. Yeah, obviously some things mean things, and other things are just like, oh, okay, well, this is far too coincidental to see this. There's too many people matriculating out of certain areas. That just shows a friendliness towards this. I think you probably find similar things out of what is the school? George Mason University in Northern Virginia, which is the one that was real close to my house, and it's Antonin Scalia's law school and all that kind of stuff. But it's just close to government. So New York City, Washington, D.C., two big hubs. I think Georgetown Law and Georgetown in general has a lot of people coming out of shady spaces in the government. And it's just kind of fun to see some of these patterns repeated. It's not like they're real creative about it. We were going to talk a little bit about maybe some of the. They don't have to be. No, that's big. And we have two things. Actually, I have a little board here. Matt Taibbi said something in a piece in April, and I sent him a recommendation that he update it because there's actually three components to the piece. They start like this. You ready?
We are doomed, and our leaders are insane.
So we're doomed because the leaders are insane. But the third component is that the electorate is essentially retarded. Broadly speaking, the bigger the group of people, the lower the average IQ, and we theoretically have a pretty uninformed, pretty uninterested electorate in this country. Most people couldn't be bothered. The kind of stuff that you and I are talking about is kind of fringe and niche to, I think, the average person. If you were to go and start dropping this stuff on them at a playground where I have my kids playing, they'd look at you like you're a crazy person. You're like, why are you so upset about these things that I don't understand? It's like, oh, because this is how they take your freedom. This is how the system collapses around you. If you don't recognize you're in a conflict, how are you going to respond properly to the conflict? I see a lot of people walking that are just going to Costco and getting chubby and not taking care of themselves and not prepping like they're going to be in a fight for their life at some point. And maybe it'll bypass us. Maybe it'll go to the next generation. But it's as likely as not to hit us because things are moving pretty quick since 2020. I think a lot of goalposts were moved in real time. And so a lot of people started recognizing like, oh, it's not a huge number, but it's a significant percentage, a couple percentage, 5, 7, 8, 10%, something like that, of people are looking around going, how many of these things are a lie? I mean, my 77-year-old father spent his lifetime in the news media. And my dad's a great guy, one of the great people in my life. And a couple months ago, he was like, was it all just a lie? Did they just lie to us about everything? And I go, I don't know about everything, but it seems like there's an awful lot of things that were lied about. And it's not for all the same reasons. That's the other thing. It's like people are operating independently in their own best interest. And it seems like people just want to be in charge of the ashes. So whether it's whatever Trump's doing in his administration and the people that are independently in the cabinet that are doing what's best for themselves, they're willing to come to your face and say something that is obviously false at the time that they say it.
And they know it's false.
And then a day later, a week later, inside of a month, they have no problem with telling you something that is diametrically opposed to the things. Let me give you just a quick example of like how full of shit these people are. Do you remember that Carolyn Leavitt? She's the spokesperson for the White House.
Yeah.
Right. And she was going to leave. Why was she going to leave, Joe? She's resigning at the end of the month.
She just had a baby.
She just had a baby, but then she hurried to get back to work. So she hurried to get back to work after having a baby. She's 28 years old. She's about to turn 29. Maybe she just turned 29.
They said that they put her on a plane and that the plane was possibly going to be shot. I saw all sorts of stories, right?
That's a big trust break, isn't it? That might make a mom not want to work there. So she was supposedly supposed to go and stay home to take care of her brand new baby. It's her second child, which I think is an admirable thing to do. I don't think it's admirable to rush back to work and then say you're going to leave. So I don't think she was leaving, and I didn't think she was leaving at the time for the reason she said. I was like, oh, they must have internal polling that shows the midterms are going to be a wash. They're going to get swamped. The narrative victory has been claimed by the other side, and so it's going to get really ugly, and anybody that's part of the Trump administration is basically going to be sort of PNG'd from the polite space. So she's going to leave as soon as she can. So she did, okay? She's not done yet. She's still working as press secretary, and she finishes her last day is the 28th or the 29th, the end of this month.
Yeah.
That's her last day of work.
Mm-hmm.
Already announced a new job on Newsmax as of Friday, and it was released at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever. So end of the news cycle, end of the day on Friday, which is a news dump when you hide stuff. And she's going to go be a spokesperson for MAGA Incorporated, the super PAC that helped fund Donald Trump stuff. So she's already going back to work, even though she was leaving her job so she could spend more time with her kid, who's brand new. It's just like they'll lie to you, and then a week and a half later they'll lie to you with something else, and you just go, "You dishonest sons of guns." what are we doing here? Why are we even pretending?
There's the problem that I have, and I kind of went right at Julie Kelly and Dan Bongino's throat, and Sean Farish, who has become the new suck the butthole out of Dan Bongino boy.
He's got to be careful. If you get a prolapsed rectum, is really a serious medical thing. So you got to be careful with that suction.
I mean, look, I agree with you fully, and then you get
in the business I used to be in. When I used to be a paramedic, we would refer to that as the pink sock. You don't want the pink sock. Gotcha. If you gag on the gagging on the pink sock is possibly fatal.
Yeah, he might choke on it because he's doing it so well. But look, I look at the credibility. Look, I'm a guy that this is why they hate me. By the way, I just want you to be clear. They hate me a lot for this. Is that I have a tendency to kind of see through it. It's a talent, and you see, and so I started just doing the math. Right, so you have Dan Bongino, who was a beat cop for New York, and then he went on to be a
4 years.
4 years. Okay. Then he went on to be a Secret Service agent. He did that for another 8 years, 6 years, 8 years. What did he do that for?
I think he did 11 or 12.
Okay. So he did that, standing up, basically, looking around. Okay. His job was to look around. His job was to recognize threats, which we actually don't know how successful that was. We just don't know because, frankly, we look at Butler and what they did with the Secret Service, and maybe he gets got away with it.
I call it the myth of competency. I think for a long time people were afraid to go up against the Secret Service because they were like, well, that's this instant death moment, and you'll never get a shot to actually do anything. It's like an impermeable force field that protects the president. And then you're like, no, it's just a bunch of federal employees that may or may not be any good.
But I mean, that's what he did. He did that for 12 years. Then he ran for office, and then he became a talking head.
How many times did he run for office and fail? 3 times?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. So, but then he became a talking head. And then, so his credibility was created by someone else that was just a talking head. And then he went on to connect himself to others like Kash Patel, who was another talking head, not incredibly talented. Kash Patel is not a very talented individual, right? He wrote a book, and he's got this little Kash sign. He's like a Kardashian. He's like sit around and I had him on the show when
he's famous for being famous.
Yeah, but that's
a Kardashian
what you have. It's a Kardashian. Yeah. That's why I call him Kardashian Patel.
I know, but that's what the Kardashians were famous for being famous.
Yeah,
they weren't famous for a skill.
What?
Yeah, they weren't famous for a skill or a talent.
This is how you know people are retarded. Is it? They don't even have talent. The Kardashians couldn't even suck a golf ball through a garden hose. At least be able to do that. Please, just to be able to do that. That's a good talent. Just show us how you can do that. At least at that point, I'd be able to say, well, can you suck a golf ball through a garden hose? Oh, you can't? Well, then you're just not that talented.
That's right.
But
you're on one today.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like you're like hanging out in my camp and it's rubbing off on you. I don't know if this is good for your
so listen, I'm at the most peace that I've ever been, right?
Because I know it's really peaceful when you realize that it's complete bullshit. You're just like, well.
So then you got Julie Kelly.
I'm just running. Yeah, okay.
Whose husband works for, so then you have this little deal. Oh, then you put Steve Bannon in there. I mean, he's a brilliant strategist, but he's not. He's just a guy that likes to suck up and grab data from people. And he's really good at being right next to pedophiles like Jeffrey Epstein, right? So
that's a skill. I'm not good at that. Yeah. I'm not good at being, you're right.
And then I mean, I could keep going. You got,
hold on. Do you know how many times, I think exactly 2 times Bannon's people have reached out to me and asked me to be on the program over the last 4 years.
Yeah. And
both times I was like, yeah, sure. I'll come on. Whatever. I'll talk to just about anybody. I actually don't care even if I don't like you, I'll talk to you. And then they never fell through. It was always really funny. I was like, I mean, I'll say whatever I think, just so you guys are aware. Like, that's why I'm not allowed on Fox anymore. I used to go on Fox until they would call up and they go, hey, we need someone to point out that the FBI is going after these, this thing, but they're not going after professors who are pro-Islam. And I was like, oh, well, you got the wrong dude, because I don't think the FBI should go after anybody for First Amendment protected activities. So maybe get somebody else. I'm not that guy. And they're like,
but they did. It's all a test too, right? It's a test.
Yeah. If you will compromise.
Yeah.
Did you say that you stand for constitutional principles? Did you say that you believe that the Bill of Rights is really a sacred sort of obligation when you swear an oath to it? And it's like, okay, well, would you be willing to go against that for some fame? Would you be willing? Because it's really good for my business. I run a podcast. It'd be really good for Seraphin to be on Fox, because that's a credibility thing. You can add that to your highlight reel. People recognize you. There's millions of people that might see it, so they can cut the clip and they'd be like, oh, Seraphin's on Fox. That means he's one of us. So we can watch that show. It's good for business. Here's what I don't give a shit about. Business, when it comes to that. I'm not willing to sell principle. So No, I'm not going to go and lie to facts audiences. Whenever they ask me to do something, I go, look, it's a much more sophisticated conversation than your audience can handle in 3.5 minutes. So no. And shockingly, I won't do it. But you know who'll do it? David Pollock will tell anything that you need them to say. David Pollock went from being a guy who was a government attorney. I think he worked for Social Security Administration. And he's a nice enough man. I like him. I helped him get a studio set up. He was a government attorney making a government pension. Then he rolls in, creates a radio show so he can hang out with politicians that he paid for the radio show. He was buying the hour to do his radio show. Now he's got a show on OAN. It's like, will you be the guy that'll do the thing that we need you to do? Will you be the cheerleader for the admin? And if you're willing to do it, we got a spot for you, my baby.
But
that's it.
So let me back. First of all, I want everybody to know that yes, I understand that the conversation we're having today is too truthful, and because of the truthful conversation that we're having, we have the social media ebits that are sitting behind the thing saying, "Stop him from talking to people." So I need you to do me a favor, and I need you to hit the share button. So hit the share button.
2012. 2014, 2016, 2 in Maryland, 1 in Florida, 3 Daniel Bongino election losses. I was trying to double check. It was for Senate, House, and then House.
So he lost 3?
He lost 3 elections, yeah.
No, but he's really smart. He's really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows how the bacon's built.
He in 2016, he took 3rd in the Republican primary in Florida.
Yeah.
For an open congressional seat.
He's not a likable person, just so you know, typically. But he does have FU money because he's now a part of Rumble, which now is censoring me to death. So thank you, Rumble, for doing
Thanks,
that.
Rumble.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Kim was famous. Joe, Kim was famous for sucking golf balls through garden hose.
No,
and
she didn't.
Was famous for being on the OJ trial, and then their marketing skills.
The father was. Kim was famous for getting blown out by Ray J. In a very lackluster sexual performance that was taped.
Yeah,
that was the Kim Kardashian.
Okay, I stand corrected. So no garden hose was ever affected by this deal. Okay,
there was no garden hose. Go ahead.
No garden hose that we know of that was adversely affected. It might have been a horse involved and other things, but no garden hose. Okay,
bro.
All right. What were we talking about? Even at Christmas,
bro, you were going off about.
So listen. You have Julie Kelly connected to her husband, who's a Democrat, right? And he's a massive Democrat, big donor to Democrats, and so is Julie by thing. And you went and did all this research on it because she decided she was going to take shots at you. And then all of a sudden, Dan Bongino stands up for Julie Kelly over the whistleblower that basically gave him the biggest story ever for the FBI. Just being absolute crap, which, by the way, that same betrayal just carried all the way down to Kash Patel because he did the same thing to you guys. He just betrayed everyone and promoted Team Evil. But let's not talk about that because we also then got tied back to another girl whose name remain unnamed, who is a country sensational star that sings
country music sensation.
Yeah,
I've never heard of it. Can I give you an update?
She did birthday. Did the case get thrown out?
No, a different case did. That was just for jurisdiction because they filed it in the wrong space. I actually had a status update on my case today, and I sat with the magistrate judge and my former attorneys, because now I'm representing myself pro se, because they will burn you out of every penny you have, and I'm not going to pay it all to an attorney because my attorneys lost the last motion. Anyway, and it was the Banal Law Group, which, by the way, I helped raise. They raised like almost $3 million, maybe more, with me and the other FBI whistleblowers. They took that money and they are using it to fund the lawsuit that is suing me for defamation because Kash Patel's fees were heard. But we sat down in this hearing and the judge goes, I just want you to know, Seraphin, that I'm going to grant your motion. You can represent yourself pro se as a litigant. You'll be held to the same standard as any attorney.
That's not
and
true.
you need to comply with the federal rules of civil procedure. You also need to comply with the specific rules, the district rules for the Western District of Texas, and the local rules for your individual judge, who I don't need to name, but I have the federal judge. And so they all have their own rules for the way that they want things done and how everything is supposed to be handled. And it's like, this is the reason that people end up hiring an attorney for $200, $500, $1,000, $1,800, $2,500 an hour, which is insane, by the way. And it doesn't matter whether they win or lose, if they're going to get paid for the time that they show up, even if they don't do a good job, they're going to make all this money because they know all this nuanced bullshit rulings, which is essentially the same as any other cartel. It's like you can't sell a house without a realtor. You need to have access to the MLS. And if you want access to the MLS, which is the system that everybody uses to find a house, well, then you better hire a realtor and then give them 3% of something that they earn nothing of, rather than a flat fee, because the amount of work it takes to sell a $300,000 house is the same as it takes to sell a $500 or an $800 or a $2.5 million house. There's the same amount of work. It's pictures, it's a listing, and then it's like making sure you tell the people who are the clients, hey, this is the truth, and this is what it looks like. It's these cartels are set up, and all these people, there's so much in the United States my wife and I see on a regular basis. It's people that just want to take stuff that you have while creating nothing. It's the reason why I joined the military. Do you know that, Joe? I literally sat in the Warner Brothers headquarters building, and it's on Riverside in Burbank, California. And I was sitting there, and I was doing spreadsheets, and I was analyzing the amount of money coming in from every single. I'm actually pretty good at spreadsheets, yeah. So I'm analyzing all the money that's coming in and out. And I was, and we were doing revenue recognition, and I, did a couple of models to be able to recognize revenue early because we knew how the payouts were going, and so we did a couple $1 million recognized earlier than previously thought they could, and so they did really well. So I'm doing this thing, and I'm like, I'm just moving freaking numbers around on a spreadsheet. I'm not creating anything. I'm not destroying anything. I'm leaving zero permanent mark on the world. I need to go where I can go do that. I need to go learn how to blow stuff up. I need to go get some hard skills where I can actually involve, there are people in this world that are alive today because I put my hands on them and saved their life. There are people that have been born in my hands. There are people that died in my hands because we couldn't save them because they were too far gone and they were all messed up. So I went and learned some real skills. And that's why I joined. I joined because I was like, I can't be a guy who moves numbers around on a spreadsheet all day long and not have anything more aggressive to be able to say, this is my mark. Now, it turns out I didn't have any kids at the time. That would have been a good way to do it as well. I have kids now. So there are other ways you can leave your mark. But in my profession, I recognized, I was like, I'm just one of these people that's just moving shit around on a board. And it means nothing at the end of the day. I'm just counting beans that somebody else will count another day. Why? There's no satisfaction in that. And then watching the way these attorneys operate, watching the way a bunch of different industries operate, their entire thing is, can I get you for a subscription so I can just keep taking something because you can't own anything? I'm just going to let you borrow access to this music instead of being able to buy a CD. I'm going to make you borrow access to this computer program. Instead of sending you the DVDs that you could load and you could download it, now you own the thing. No, we want to actually put you on a subscription basis. So it's $100 a year instead of you just pay access for a suite of services. And every single thing in our culture has actually gone to this succubus model where it's like, how can we pull the most amount of things from you and give you the least amount for it? And nobody, I'm sure a lot of people recognize it, but it's gross. Memberships and subscriptions, and how many people own anything? I have movies that I quote unquote own on Amazon, and it's convenient and it follows me wherever I go, but I can't take it and give it to somebody. It's not transferable. It's this transient sort of culture we've created, and it's all scammy, and it just ends up feeling like we're just, we're enabling some of this. Yeah, there's nothing real about it.
It's not real.
No.
And so I wrote this huge post. I'm not going to share it with you right now, just because I think it would be self-serving, and I have you on my show so that I can hear what you have to say, not necessarily what I have to say. But I do want to talk about what's that?
I want to hear what you have to say.
I love talking to you. I get my daily dose of Kyle, and people, I know that they're seething. I know that Dan Pongino and Kardashian Patel are seething right now, which makes me really happy, right? And I didn't know that you were actually representing yourself. That's actually brilliant.
Well, I just started. I spent money, and now I'm going to represent myself.
Okay. And
they have to prove a case. So knock yourself out. I'm above average intelligence. I have access to friends who are attorneys that will look over stuff if I need them to. So fuck you. Excuse the language, but you want to accuse something. You want to prove that something happened. Prove it. Knock yourself out. You do not, by the way, have to hold yourself to the same standard as an attorney. That is a lie. So if the magistrate judge said that to you, that magistrate judge is a piece of shit and is a liar. So I'm just telling you right now. I think he was trying to he was trying to do the same thing that everyone else does, which is that, you really
Scary,
need an attorney.
intimidating.
Yeah, you'll be much safer. It's like, well, I agree with you. That would be easier. But you know what? I'm not going to
Can't trust
burn.
them anyway.
I'm not going to burn that kind of money. I've already spent $20,000 out of my pocket, which is a pretty big amount of money for me. I'm not real thrilled about spending $20,000 on something. I might as well have lit it on fire because we did a motion to dismiss to get rid of that case, and it didn't dismiss, and the judge didn't hear any of our arguments. And so when it came down to the final pleading, which I ended up doing, which is my responsive pleading, it was my first filing pro se. My pro se filing it's as good as anything else that I've read anyone else write. I went and read Ken Paxton's filings in responses. It's like, yeah, mine's comparable to that. I'm as smart as almost every attorney that I've ever dealt with. I don't have training in that field, but I'm a pretty quick study. So fine, I'll write filings. We've got access to things like AI that can help clean up the language and make it to fit into formats. I can ask and query questions. I can throw entire documents in and say, summarize these rules so I can make sure I'm in compliance, or compare these documents and make sure I'm in compliance with the set of rules. So I've got some really available tools. We've almost worked our way out of these systems even existing. I think you were saying it earlier, like we should be able to see pro se litigants. The entire purpose of the justice system is so that we should be able to go out there and seek justice. And if somebody accuses you of something and they're trying to find out, well, you should be able to defend yourself without having to have specialized skills. That's absurd. It's actually just words. So if the language of the law is so complex and so convoluted, and the process by which we adjudicate the law is so complicated that we require professionals to be able to dole it out, then we have no access to justice, which obviously is true. I think the first revolutionary thing that will happen will be it'll happen at the courts. It'll be people that are pissed off that are seeing what I'm seeing. And many people have seen it before me, but this is my first time.
I've seen it. I had a judge that stood up and said probable falsity, and then literally threw out my ability to defend myself. That marched in an Antifa rally about holding a sign saying that she would burn down the place if George Floyd was her. I mean, an Antifa judge who came into the deal.
Imagine people like Dexter Taylor, who's in prison in New York. Okay. He was convicted on state charges, and his judge told him that he was not allowed to introduce the Second Amendment as a potential defense. They literally will like draw lines around of what you can and cannot argue, as though that, I mean, it's like, put it in front of the jury. Let the jury decide what something is. Why do we have to gatekeep this information? And that's the whole system. The system is a house of cards built around obscure and archaic traditions going back to English common law and a bunch of other bullshit. The answer should not be that you have to go to a special practitioner to be able to bring your claims in court or to defend yourself from fallacious and really frivolous claims. And you do, though. You have to go spend thousands and thousands of dollars. My case is cheap. I talked to my attorneys. They were the guys that were just left. So we had a hearing to decide for them to leave. And the judge had to approve that I was going to be able to represent myself, Joe. As though what?
Don't.
Well, the judge had to have, I put in a motion to have counsel withdraw, and the judge has to technically approve it. And he said, I'm going to approve this motion. The question is then, wait a minute. So what if they don't? I'm not going to pay these attorneys. These attorneys are not going to work for free. So then what happens, Guy? Of course you're going to have to approve it. So why did we even go through the motions of this nonsense? It doesn't make any sense. If the system is such that you have to go ask somebody's permission to be able to stand up and represent yourself. And my attorneys told me, they were like, hey, dude, we did it for a flat rate of $20K. If we had billed you by hour, we would have charged you somewhere around $75,000 for the work, which was unsuccessful. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. That's probably what you would have charged me. That's insane. That's insane what you would, like, how many people have $75K laying around that are just regular people that they're willing to burn on some guys writing a couple of pieces of paper that are unsuccessful in the argument that they filed the paper.
But these people are on our side. I mean, Cash Patel is on our side, right? But he's not. He's on his own side. He's on the selfish, serve myself, stuff my face, make sure it looks like I'm in this sort of kabuki theater side. I mean, the FBI keeps taking credit for everything. Take credit for, crimes down 20%. No, the ICE got rid of 2 million illegals. And guess what? It turns out that 20% of the crimes were committed by the thugalicious that you threw out. The little butternut squad that you sent down to whatever country it went down to. So you want to take credit for it. And people buy into it. And I'm like, you guys are retarded. You're retarded. The FBI doesn't do anything to stop crime.
So I don't think that we have elections. I think that I'm not saying something you don't agree with, but I think that we do have is a narrative war. And the narrative war is what does the public sentiment look like it would be willing to accept? And if the public sentiment will accept crime is down because of fill in the blank and we're going to claim victory, if you message that properly, then you can sell that. It doesn't mean it's true, but you can sell it. And the only thing that's kind of amusing to me about these guys that you're talking about, the Bongino, who's already started crying about it, Patel, who's a future crier about it, but hasn't yet, is that I think that whenever the next team gets their turn to come into the office, the one thing that I've seen in this country over the last, let's call it 30 years, is the political right holds some ground or slows the movement left. It goes at a slower pace. They're going the speed limit of moving towards progressive bullshit. And the political left hits the gas pedal. So the next swing that we should see will likely be people that are on the hard left taking access to the power. And I think that they will come mercilessly because their narrative victory allows them to go do awful things to people who probably don't deserve it. And so even though I don't think Bongino deserves to be investigated by and destroyed by the FBI, I think that's probably the next move for him. You can imagine the people that work there that have been biding their time, ready to destroy him. And Kash Patel is going to get absolutely annihilated the minute he's not director. Whenever that happens, whether it's after midterms, whether it's after Trump gets out of office and the next person comes in, he will be devastated by the agency that he was out there pissing off. Because in addition to pissing off guys like you and me who just wanted him to follow the Constitution and do what he would say, there are some other people that didn't like him messing with the status quo of their business and kind of making them look like buffoons because he is a buffoon. And so he's going to get his just desert probably on this planet. Most people don't get justice on Earth. I think we might see a little bit of it come his way. And it'll be just like, dude, I'd feel sorry for you because I don't actually like seeing anybody targeted by our government. But I told you. I freaking told you. And you were in the position to be able to do something about it.
If you don't destroy all of it, you destroy none of it.
I described it the other day to somebody. It's a Mike Benz calls it the blob. I think that's an accurate description, but to be more accurate, it's a multipolar, multi-mission, self-propagating organism. And so if you destroy some of it, it just grows back all the other pieces at, some different rate in ways you can't see. You have to kill all of it, like mold or like some sort of spread it, like an ant colony. It's not just, you can't just take out the queen. These are all autonomous, it's a colony full of queens. So each individual agency has its own little ability to propagate more of its own bullshit. And they spin off more bullshit every time. It's incredible, the kind of stuff. And this FBI freaking stops fraud or stops ISIS person in New York. It's a great little example of how ridiculous the time is that we're in right now. I sent your folks over the complaint if you're so interested. But high level look at this, Joe. There was a claim that an ISIS supporter who was going to bomb the New York State Assembly in Albany was captured by the Bureau. And then when you get down to the brass tacks of what actually happened here, 3 different federal paid informants, known as confidential human sources, set up a fat, stupid Muslim lady with low IQ, who's a white chick with a nose ring, that joined Islam 5 years ago and wears a burqa now like a weirdo.
Burqa.
And burqa. And this lady, she got set up by 3 professional sources for the FBI. They're paid by the Bureau to do this work. And then the best part for me is that I spent dozens of hours working on a movie called Police State with Dinesh D'Souza. It was co-produced by Daniel Bongino. It starred Julie Kelly. It starred Kashyap Patel and me and Steve Friend and George Hill and some other people who actually have some principles. And what's crazy is the entirety of this story that you're seeing on the screen here, this criminal complaint, could have fit into the Police State movie. We covered stories exactly like it, where the FBI provides the means, the mechanism, the sources, the encouragement, and then they bust somebody who never had the ability to actually engage in a terrorist act simply because it benefits the FBI. And so this story here is kind of interesting because, one, it's a mirror to Liberty Hill or the Liberty City 7, a couple of other cases that were actually featured in Police State, where the government came in and did all the things. But the highest level is 3 paid government informants took a retarded woman who also happens to be fat and wears a burqa, which, by the way, is just its own comedy. She looks like Grimace. She looks like Grimace from McDonaldland, if you remember. And the
Useful
pictures
idiot. She was a useful idiot in order to build a propagating
She was
case.
trolling online looking for people who had similar backgrounds to her and had similar feelings of anti-American, whatever, and wanted to do a jihadi sort of terrorist attack. But the craziest bit is that she had no idea how to do any of it. She had no ability to execute this plan. So the federal informant number 1 hands her off to federal informant 2 and 3. 2 and 3 say, hey, do you want to do a terrorism? Cool. Look up a hardware store on your phone. So she looks up a hardware store on her phone and says, there's a Home Depot here. And they drive her to the hardware store, which is, again, a Home Depot parking lot. They give her $200 in cash that the FBI gave them to give her. And it's recorded by serial number. She takes that in and she buys a 9-volt battery. She buys some electrical tape, and she buys acetone and about an $85 bin of nails. And for her bomb, she used 3.5-inch common nails instead of the tiny kinds that you would actually use if you were trying to make some kind of a bomb with a bunch of normal shrapnel. You'd want like a 1/2-inch or 3/4 or a 1-inch kind of tops, because you want to be able to stack in as many of the you can. So she gets 3.5-inch long nails. She gives the bomb making equipment to the guys who gave her the money, and they're the FBI informants. Then they go away and they build a fake bomb, allegedly, with the stuff that she bought. And then they meet her again, and she says, I'd really like to get a gun, something powerful, but something that I can conceal under my burqa. And it's like, well, honey, you're pretty big. You could probably conceal a bazooka. And just kidding. They gave her a handgun. She says, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather have a rifle, she says, not knowing anything. So they sell her a gun for $150, and they show her how to use it. They give her ammo for it and a magazine. How many guns do you sell for $150 at DCF? Oh, none.
Zero.
Yeah,
Zero.
Nobody sells a gun for 100, unless you guys are doing like yeet cannons from High Point as a joke.
I mean, we have sold a yeet cannon with a sighting on the side, the side mounted sight.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's very funny.
As a
gag.
Yeah,
it's a gag.
It shoots.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you're keeping it.
I have a friend who has a High Point at every caliber for some reason, and he paid like $90 for each one. Anyway, nobody's buying a gun for $150. They disabled the gun before they gave it to her. The bomb they gave her was inert because it was a bomb made by the FBI. She stepped out of the car with the shitty gun that didn't work and the bomb that they made from the parts that they paid for, and they arrested her instantaneously. So nobody was in danger ever, under any circumstances. How is
that a thing? Now, does everybody understand that, or do they just go the narrative? Now let's go back to the narrative. So the narrative is we stop this from happening, right? And does the FBI look around and go, this is crazy. Why are we doing this?
No, they're super proud of themselves. And Todd Blanche said, we're keeping America safe. And they go on Fox News and do victory laps. Now, go type into any search bar, ISIS, New York, Albany, and you will pull up every single headline. And we could just look at them right now. If you want to pull a browser up and take a peek. If you literally type it up, it'll all be victorious FBI thwarts terror attack. I just told you the entire elements of the terror attack. That's what it is. Fat lady got money from a guy to go buy some hardware. Then she gave it back to the guy. The guy gave her a fake bomb and a gun that didn't work for $150. And then they busted her for terrorism.
So did the guy who gave her the money to go buy the stuff, did he get arrested?
No, he's an FBI source. He's paid by the FBI to do it.
So you got an FBI, hold on. You got an FBI agent.
An FBI, and it's not an agent, it's a source. So a confidential human source found her online while she was posting a bunch of anti-American pro-ISIS bullshit and said, oh, would you like to meet my brothers from ISIS in real life? And she's like, yeah. So then she meets 2 more FBI informants. So number 1 introduces her to 2 and 3. And then 2 and 3 drove her to a hardware store, gave her money to buy stuff, took the stuff, gave her a fake bomb, gave her a gun that didn't work for $150. And the second she got out of the car, they rolled her up. Look at the headlines. What do they say?
FBI thwarts an alleged ISIS-inspired plot to bomb New York City.
Go to CNN. What do they say?
Oh my gosh. Woman charged in ISIS-inspired terror plot. So what you're saying is, it should have said, let me redo this for you. Can I do this for you? Who is Jessica Bowie? All right, I just want to do this for you. Let me rewrite it for you.
Okay.
FBI plans ISIS attack to arrest stupid woman in burqa for terror plot.
That's right. That's a correct headline. Yeah. If you go, I think I actually sent the complaint. If you scroll down to the complaint, I have to look on what page it is, but they actually show like what she wanted to attack. And what she wanted to attack, I'll see if I can grab what page it is. It's one of the pictures. So it's on page maybe 9. It's on page 9. I have a weird memory for that stuff. On page 9 of the complaint, they show the area, like the target that she wanted to identify. The target is the entirety of the Capitol in Albany. So look at this, Joe. There's the Capitol. She circled it in yellow. So that's the target. The target is a building that covers a full city block. And she bought a bottle of acetone and a 5-pound bucket of nails. And she's going to attack it or whatever.
Which basically would blow up a toilet.
Fucking nail polish remover. Excuse my language, but it's like it's nail polish remover. Everybody has. I have electrical tape. I have nails. I have a 9-volt battery, and I have acetone within 10 feet of where I'm sitting right now in my workbench and in my bathroom.
All right. So what's really interesting about what we're talking about is that this is a harsh reality.
This is so-called this FBI. This is Kashyap Patel doing this, right?
Kardashian Patel. Why do you keep trying to change it? Kardashian.
His full name is Kashyap. Yap.
I think there's a sex tape out there from 2007 that would make Kardashian Patel get his own reality show. Oh, he has it. That's right. It's happening right now between our eyes.
It is happening right now. Yeah. He went to, I should send you guys the clip that, the hype video that I downloaded from him. He went to my old field office, which is like maybe one of the least interesting areas. And he did a hype video. And when I played it on my X account, I had someone say, "Did you alter the voice to make him sound that faggy?" And I was like, no, I did not. I had nothing to do with it. That's just how he sounds. I just sent it over. It's really bad because he says, my motto is just show up. And it's like, yeah, we know, dude. We fucking know.
My motto is please show up. Please.
It's really,
please show up. How about the 2.5 minutes of him doing pull-ups and push-ups, right?
Bro.
That he put it on, it was like 20 minutes. Because he was so tired, he couldn't actually do the push-ups and the pull-ups.
I sent over Todd Blanche's reaction to this incredible ISIS disruption too, and how proud he is of them too.
I mean, it's a self-licking ice cream cone. That's
what they call it in DC. Yeah, of course it is.
It doesn't even make any sense. And look, this is us mocking a system that, by the way, looks out for nothing but itself. Now we do have the trailer for Police State. I want to play this because
okay. Can I tell you what I did?
Cosplay, huh?
Can I tell you what I did for Police State?
No, what'd you do?
You know that I was part of that movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was a technical advisor. It was me and Steve Friend. I think Steve would admit that I'm a little bit more of a dominant personality, so I ended up like sort of dominating the space. All of the lines that you hear Nick Searcy say, every line he did, I came up with. Because they were like, what would he say here? I mean, they had a couple of them that were like, he was saying something. I told him like what the motive, he ad-libbed, did a couple versions of it. But when we were walking around through an office, like all those things, I'm like, they're like, what are these people talking about? I'm like, okay, you're saying this and this is why. And like, what are they talking about? Okay, they're just all the background choreography. I told them what they were doing. They go, we need her to stop at this desk. He needs to stop over at this desk. Why is he stopping at the desk? And I'm like, he's looking for a file review. Okay. And then you say, yeah, oh, has it been 90 days already? And it's like, so I did this like interchange. Then they wanted to do all the tactical takedowns. So I choreographed and I led the tactical team that takes down the family in the house. They rented out a house. We take down a family at their breakfast table after they pray. And I led the thing through. Steve Friend is the one who actually hit the door. I'm the first guy through with the pistol. I was the only one that knew how to put cuffs on people because all the actors we had didn't know how to put cuffs on and arrest the way the FBI does. So I gave commands. I put the cuffs on. I'm wearing a face mask the whole time. So I didn't know what was going to come out of this movie or what it was going to look like. And I'm like, I'm just going to wear a mask. I just don't want to be like the guy that's playing an FBI agent, having been currently suspended as an FBI agent right now. It probably doesn't like make sense for me to be in a movie, being an FBI agent, jumping out of a van. But all the stuff we choreographed. And we helped. I was in the initial planning talking to Dinesh. Is like, these are the types of cases that happen. This is what the police state looks like. This is the bullshit cosplay that goes on where the FBI sets people up for terror plots and then arrests them. And he even tried to get Trevor Aronson, who wrote the book on this. The book is called The Terror Factory. Trevor Aronson's he's a writer, he's an author, he's a reporter. He's kind of like center left, I would say. He's been to my home. He sat here in this chair. And Trevor Aronson wouldn't do the movie because he was like, no, because Dinesh is going to F it up and he's going to make it about like Democrats, which he did. He ended up making it about Democrats. And the story is the FBI serves the FBI, not Republicans, not Democrats. It just happens to align with people who want more government. But everything in this trailer, I was involved in all the shooting of this stuff. I just wanted you to have the background on it. My name is on the bigger poster.
All right.
Like,
so
my name is on IMDb.
I want to play this because I think it's important. But what you just said about the FBI, now Patrick and everyone can attest to this. So this weekend I sat down because now what I'm doing is I take 20 or 30 minutes, I record something, and then I'm turning it into, I decided that I'm going to turn it into a narrative about what's happening based on what my mind sees, right? And in this whole thing that I wrote out is a letter to President Trump that says, because he attacked Tucker Carlson, he attacked Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then Dan got on board, all these other people got on board this attack, and I just said to myself, you guys are a bunch of pussies. You're a bunch of like, you're nothing but a bunch of cosplay, you know, I don't even know what you call them, like trash, right? Because you think that because President Trump feels a certain way, that you got to get on that bandwagon and turn society against those people. You're just like radical leftists. You're no different. You're just a bunch of trash, right? And then you're going to create this thing and go after Tucker Carlson, which, by the way, I sent him a text saying, look, I'm praying for you. And, you know, his response was beautiful because he's just a gracious guy. But I'm sitting there talking to these people about all the things that we're seeing out there. And as I spent 20 minutes on the thing, just wrote down. And what I said about the FBI in this whole thing was that the FBI cares about their own interests. Like it's literally self-preservation for the FBI and the people in it. Like there's no part of that is connected to society. Matter of fact, it looks at society and goes, oh, I can just F with this person. Let me go ahead and create something so I can look like a hero. So it's the most narcissistic, disgusting environment you could possibly get next to the CIA, which is almost as equally as bad, if not worse.
If we're going to play the police state trailer, which I think is good, you have to follow it up with the hype video that Kash Patel did just visiting Albuquerque field office and tell me that the energy is not the same. Yeah. It's the same sort of dramatic bullshit music. And it's like you're talking about an agency that did a bunch of evil stuff. And I think going into Mar-a-Lago was evil. I think it crossed the line. I think it broke a pane of glass that's really changed the way that American politics will ever be. And I said it at the time, and I'm on record saying it in September of 22, talking to Bongino at his podcast, the first time I ever did a public interview. I said, I think this changed American politics. I think that what they did and asking you to do that's probably, if they had asked me to go to Mar-a-Lago, I would have absolutely disagreed with it. I'd be like, look, I'm not going to do it, so fire me. Conscientious objector. I'm not going to be part of something like this. And then that might be the last day I work at the FBI. That's okay. Because I wasn't going to do stuff like that. I wasn't going to go after any J6ers. They said, I told my boss when I moved to Albuquerque, I was in the Albuquerque division. I was in Las Cruces. I said, boss, give me every J6 lead. Send it to me. I'll take every single one. If they sent anybody from headquarters, that would have been guys like Couy Griffin, Cowboys for Trump. It was too late. Yeah. They were already prosecuting him. But they could have given that to me. And it would have gone like this. We'd like you to investigate fill in the blank person, allegations that they were involved in something in the U.S. Capitol, blah, 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 January 6, 2021, go do the logical investigative steps. And I'd be like, roger that. I would have gone to every J6 house that they asked me to go to. I'd knock on the door. And I would have said, hey, my name's Kyle Seraphin. I'm from the FBI. I'm happy to talk to you if you're willing to discuss with me. I'm here to talk about the events on January 6th. You do not have to talk to me. Under no circumstances are you required to. You are totally within your rights to just say, go fuck yourself, and I will be happy to leave. And do you have anything that you'd like to say to me at this point? And okay, thanks so much. Here's my business card. If you think of anything you'd like to say, I don't expect to hear from you. I hope you have a great day.
Yeah.
No allegation or information that a federal crime took place. If they said this person may have been there, it's like, well, why do you think that? Because somebody said this on Facebook. Fuck you. I'm not going to do it. But I'll go out and knock on the door, check the box, and then I'll fill it out. All logical investigative steps were taken. I have friends that did that. They went out on people where there was no probable cause to believe anything happened. There was no allegation or information the person had committed a federal crime. And they knocked on the door, said, one of my buddies told me he got a lead, and it said, we believe this person is in your AOR, your area of responsibility. So please conduct all logical investigative steps to find him. And my buddy called his friend at the sheriff's department, and he goes, does this guy live here? And they go, I don't know who that is. And he was like, oh, okay. And then he hung up. All logical investigative steps covered. No indication that the subject, lives in our AOR. Lead covered. The end. Closed. That's what should have happened for most of the things that happened. That's what people like me and some people like me did. In the meantime, you've got the police state trailer hyping up a weaponized FBI, and you've got Kash Patel running it, doing the same exact thing that 2 years ago they were attacking. 2 years ago, before he got into that spot, they were campaigning to be this guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we get into the rotted nature of all of it. And it does come down to the judiciary. And everyone seems to think that, oh, it's this, and oh, it's that, and oh, it's this. Let me just tell you the lifeline, the cog to every wheel of society is the judiciary. It's the judges. It's the lifeline. Everything else is just elected position. These people are forever. They stay in those positions. They have immunity, not qualified. They have full immunity as judges.
Right. Yeah, they just have a job, and their job is to supposedly be referee, but they all have opinions and biases.
They're not a referee, though, because the referee went out the door. Now they are judge, jury, executioner, and they are the proctologist of destroying the inside of an individual from the inside out. Like they literally can do, what's that?
Pink sock.
I mean, it's really terrible what these people have done.
It is.
And I think that every now and then you get a good one, but there's so much rot and so much bad that it becomes.
I'm sure there's good ones.
So much hubris, and there's so much hubris inside of the mechanism that these people. I'm going to tell you right now, when things hit the fan and it gets to war, people are making lists, and you know what they're making lists of? Because I can tell you, I haven't seen one person in the judiciary that feels like they were not wronged. I run them all the time. I have 3 or 4 of them on my show. And they're all saying the same thing. And they get to hide, by the way. They get to hide, take all their data off the internet, because they know what they're doing to people is wrong. And it's not putting people away for life for doing crimes, because they're letting rapists break back out on the street. It's the fact they're allowed to unqualified, do whatever they want to affect their relationship in the community and break the public trust every single time they open their mouth. And that is a danger. That is not a functioning society. That is a slave state. Let's play police state. I want to play it. No sound.
Sounds critical.
Representing extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Chief Division Counsel and DOJ have approved a no-knock breach. We want the subject to be on display, doing the walk of shame, full visual impact. Any questions?
Are we becoming a police state?
Government told American citizens they couldn't go to church on Sunday.
I've never seen anything like it. It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
FBI warrant, come to the door now!
There's a heavy banging at my door. Open up! It's 15 marked units on my property. I got SWAT in the back of my house.
It took a battering ram to my door.
6 a.m. I hear boom, 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 and hear about 6 to 8 military-style soldiers, with the tallest one of them pointing an automatic rifle at my head. FBI, we have an arrest warrant!
Shock you out of sleep, drag you out of your house half clothed, refuse to give you a warrant, ransack your house.
Now I'm facing 15 years in federal prison
for doing nothing other than exercising my right to free speech.
I had no reason to be attacked.
I hope that you remember Matt's name and the role you played in killing him.
How did we give the state this kind of power?
9/11 changed everything.
We're going to expand the Bureau from law enforcement to domestic intelligence. Legal shackles are now off.
It used to be Islamic terrorism. That threat is kind of dissipated.
Our focus is shifting.
They're moving to domestic extremism. Really paints anybody who's right of center.
What we need is a person to look at. And then we go find out what crime you did.
If you're a pro-life, pro-family Catholic, they define you as radical.
The demand for domestic terrorism vastly outstrips the supply. When candidate Trump came down the escalators, the government had a meltdown.
We are going to drain the swamp. We'll see about that.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
The Patriot Act and FISA were used against Donald Trump.
Google literally rewrote their news algorithm based upon what Trump was doing so that they could get this guy.
You just take out the word Russiagate and you put in COVID origins. You take out COVID origins and you put in Hunter Biden's laptop. You take that out and you put in January 6th. It's the replicated play from the deep state and their partners in the media.
They're not just deplatforming you, they are trying to throw people in prison.
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Hands on your head! These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with. We can do anything we want.
Police State. Exclusively in theaters October 23rd and 25th. Tickets sold only on policestatefilm.net.
Part of my motto is showing up. Show up to the field. Show up for your partners. Collectively, law enforcement across the country, state, local, tribal, and federal, has delivered for the American people the largest reduction in violent crime in U.S. history. Violent crime, and we're talking rape, robbery, ag assault, all down double digits across America. That means we're working together better than ever. Can't thank you enough for your partnerships. I love going into a room and seeing all of this many law enforcement. It's no small task to reduce the violent crime rate in this country to historic proportions in just 14 months. So kudos to you guys on that victory, and we'll keep getting after it.
You can't do reform with the same people, Joe.
No. Now you have to cut the head of the snake out and you have to gut it like a cancer.
Every single person that worked at my former agency that was a GS-15, so that's an assistant special agent in charge, or this is a, not a section chief, a unit chief or above. So all the management that was above the second tier at field offices and at headquarters should have been removed, period, the end. They could have all been sent to the same place. I recommended something to Patel. I said, send them all to Puerto Rico. That way they're off the mainland. They're going to go send them all to freaking Guam, help it capsize Guam or whatever you want to do. Like put them somewhere and tell them that they are responsible for all federal crimes around their domicile and that they'll never have a chance to be anything more at the FBI. They can sit out there and waste their time doing nothing, collect a paycheck until they eventually get their pension, but they're never going to get to do the job again. Just get rid of them, but do it in a way that you can actually get rid of them. Because if you go out there and fire them, then they're all going to get their jobs back and they're going to get back pay. We're going to pay them anyway. So let's just pay them to sit somewhere where they're not a problem. Exile them. And you can do that. Every single intelligence analyst and every single FBI agent has a mobility agreement, just like the military. They can send you for the needs of the FBI anywhere they want. So they should have created a new space to go live, relocate all these assholes out there. Every single manager that was a GS-15 or higher. That was the recommendation I made if you wanted to gut it. That means all Chris Wray, all Jim Comey managers would be gone. And then you can build it up from scratch. But they didn't do that. They got rid of a couple of positions. They got rid of a couple of people. They claim that they've fired like 50, 60, 80, something like that. A couple of people have claimed that there was this like major purge that took place. There was 800 something FBI total employees. A bunch of them took the fork in the road that was given by Doge. That's what the primary group was. But they lost like maybe 100, maybe 200 total, all told.
But
and like you're talking about an agency that is 40,000 people.
Yeah, but the bad guys were all given promotions.
They were all tucked in there.
Promotions.
And they all came up in the same rate. Like all the people that got hired on came in under those previous administrations. They kept the exact same academy classes, were selected by the same policies that Chris Wray had. They just came in, and then the first thing that happened is Kash Patel's there a week, and he's cheering on the newest graduates of Intel analysts. And he said he was going to get rid of all the Intel analysts. So anyway, they immediately went back on the word after being informed on what the problem was.
Yeah, so that leads me down to it leads me to not only just the problem with Kash Patel, but what is happening holistically to the American people. President Trump is, the people are just not showing up. I had a phone call with a group of people. There was probably 10 people on the call And I said, hey, how many of you feel like we're getting what we asked for? Now, all 10 people didn't have the same fight. They didn't have the same target in mind. And they said, I said, who here? Anybody? Everybody. There's only 10 of us. And a couple of them I don't agree with. I mean, a couple of them are just I don't agree with. But I asked the question. I said, listen, how many think that we're 2 years into it, that we're going to get, that we've gotten something? And all of them, for different reasons, all said, we have been betrayed. We are last on the Christmas card list, where foreigners get access to all the entitlements. Our taxes are too high. We rent our house from the government. I've been saying it for years, that we're in a slave environment. One said that they can barely make ends meet, and it's been like that all the way through Biden, and it was better before when Trump was in there first time. And then all of a sudden, it's the same. Like nothing's changed. Gas is $4 a gallon. Everything's unaffordable. The interest rates are up. Everywhere they turn, the cost of insurance is through the roof. They feel like they are literally being crushed by a weight on their chest.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them. And by the way, several of them were very successful people making a lot of money still, and said that it just doesn't. There's no progress in their lives. Mm-hmm. And they look at the fact that the one thing that they thought was going to happen, we're going to get safe and fair and non-fraudulent elections, that we're going to get a chance as Americans to have a seat at our own table, like to self-govern, right? We're that's what we say. We're here to self-govern. And they all said the same thing. We're not self-governing. This is slavery. This is bondage. Like we have another country that's flying the USSA. and we're being treated like we're idiots. And idiots are in charge. That's where we are.
I don't disagree. I mean, each of that little story that we just showed was a microcosm for the other stuff. And the problem is it comes from the top. If Donald Trump's first move is to say, I don't agree with you, so screw you, you're interested in what's going on. What's the story with Jeffrey Epstein? All my surrogates talked about it on the campaign trail. They all made promises about, sharing the list, sharing information, finding out what that dude was all about. He was he was a symptom. That guy wasn't the cause of things, but he was a symptom. And he was a symptom that showed three things. And I think we talked about this previously, Joe, but here's the deal. When you have someone that is wealthy beyond normal means in a way that doesn't make any sense, and he's no longer subject to the same judicial system, that's one problem. People who have access to the levers of power that can move the system in their favor in ways that look completely unfair, that's another problem. And the last thing is, if you're willing to hurt children while you're doing so, or there's an allegation that's involved, you have a trifecta of people getting really pissed off from left and right. That is a unifying moment where people go, if you have screw you money and you're willing to screw around with kids, we think that you should be fed to the wood chipper, and everybody who's your friend should probably also be destroyed. They shouldn't be able to just walk around amongst us like nobody cares. And Donald Trump's answer was that if you believe in this stuff, or you're worried about it, or you think it's a problem, even though my people said so previously, the vice president said it, his own son said it, other people who are his surrogates, if you say it now, then you're a loser and I don't need your support. Noted. Okay. The same thing happened to Tom Massey. It's like, what about financial accountability? What about the Department of Government Efficiency? What about getting rid of fraud?
Hold on. Thomas Massey, though, voted on the side of Democrats like 11 times, right? So he said he had principles when it applied to us, but didn't have principles. The same thing that Rand Paul did going back in 2017.
I disagree, because
the clock.
Look at the reason why he voted. I know, but why did he vote those ways? Like, that's like saying a no vote is the same.
Hold on. You can create a reason
saying a
why.
no vote is... I disagree, because the principle behind it has always been the same. It's been motivating. And I've talked to him about this. Fair enough. It's pretty simple. Joe, if I said, do you want to go and blow up this building with me? Are you a yes or a no on that?
What kind of building?
That's a fair question.
You can't answer that question.
Okay, it's a Costco.
Okay, it's a Costco. Is it empty or is it full?
It's full.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't hurt people.
Okay. So you don't want to blow up the building full of people. So you're a no.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's because it's got people in it.
It's a Costco. It's got some good stuff in it. Like, I don't want to.
I agree. Yeah. Right. Now imagine if I ask another guy and he was like, just one Costco? And I said, yeah, just one Costco. And he was like, look, I'm not in unless this involves 10 Costcos. He's also a no, but for a pretty different reason, right?
Yeah.
If the answer is like, hey, will you vote with us on this way? Will you vote a no on this? Will you, yes or no? Are you in on this spending bill that we're going to do? And the answer is no, it's not enough spending. So the Democrats say no. And Tom Massey says, I don't believe in spending any of this stuff. There's too much fraud in here. I'm also a no. I'm voting with the Democrats. Most of the things that you find in his voting record where he's like alongside of the people that we disagree with, which we would disagree with instinctively, it's because it's for a very different reason. And so you find yourself aligned with people, not because you agree with them, but because you're so far on the opposite side of it that you don't even agree with the party that you were on because they don't agree with their own principle. This is the issue with slandering people's statement. You say, oh, well, this person does this thing. People would say, Seraphin, you're just like a Democrat because you oppose Donald Trump. And I'm like, no, I'm like a right-wing lunatic conservative extremist. I think that Donald Trump is a Democrat from the 90s. He's always been a Democrat from the 90s. I'm not mad at him for it. The 90s were pretty good for me when I was a kid. So I'm okay with that. But the problem is, if you gave me a choice of, do you want to go with the Democrats who think like neutering your children and they can't define what a woman is, and they think that every religion is the same and as good and we should kill babies? I'm like, no, you misunderstood. Whenever people that are loony lefties follow me on social media, I always see their accounts, and you can tell because they have all the emojis of like, rainbows and allyship and other bullshit. And I just like, I want to send them a private message like, hey, you're not going to like it here. You're not going to like it. Okay. You saw that I was calling out your guy, like the guy that you hate. You don't like Kash Patel. You don't like Donald Trump. I'm saying that they're full of shit, and they are, but not for the reasons you think. You think it's because I'm aligned with you and I want whatever loony lefty thing you want. No, I want people to put their faith in God and family and firearms and fitness. And I want them to have food stability, and I want them to be able to grow and have an American dream, which is kind of what we were promised. We were going to make America great again. I'm right-wing extreme compared to that. You can be a right-wing extremist and vote with the lefties is what I'm saying to you.
All right. So noted. Noted.
Okay. Noted.
But I think, look, I don't agree with, I think Pam Bondi was a traitor to our country. I think she did a lot of harm over the first year. That's what I think.
That's fine.
I think she spent more time on Fox than she wanted to spend her time being a Kardashian than she did actually caring for the needs of the American people and making the ship right.
I'm with you so far.
The only thing that she said during that time that made any sense is we're understaffed. We need more lawyers. So then I had friends that sent in their lawyers. They're really good lawyers. They sent in applications to the DOJ and said, I'm ready to get to work. I heard you guys are behind. I'm willing to fold up my practice, and or some of them were ready to walk away from their practice in order to get involved and dig in.
Yep.
Do you think one of them got a phone call?
No, I'm sure they didn't. I have a friend that's in the same, that's a top litigator in his field as well.
Yeah.
And he offered an opportunity. He offered in February of 25.
Yeah.
He just got hired just now.
But that's my point. Is that they didn't get a
and
phone
he's
call.
one guy. Yeah, I'm sure
Right?
most of them did. The only reason my guy got a call is because he's got some political connections that made it happen.
But that's my point. I mean, the pedigree that they're looking for is not.
He's expecting to be disappointed too, for whatever it's worth.
And look, but my point is that they're lying to us when they say that that's the case. So I decided that I was going to walk around and start recruiting lawyers that I knew that were either seasoned in their life, don't need to really work for anything ever again, right? Or were so new into the deal that I was friends with. A friend of mine's son graduated law school. I mean, just top of this class, recruited by everyone. Like everyone wanted this kid. He's like, I'm going to go work for the DOJ. First thing that you pull up when you pull up his socials is that he's a Christian. He's a Christian that believes 100% in doing the right thing. Like he did Young Life, and they didn't even give him. This is a kid that was heavily recruited.
Yeah, DQ'd. Sure.
Right. And all of a sudden they threw him out. And so I look at it and go, you don't want to solve the problem. You didn't bring David Clements. The guy's a brilliant litigator. You can say whatever you want about him. And he has experience being in that environment. David does. And guess what? He didn't even get a nod, not even a look in his direction. Right. So it's all kabuki theater, all of it. Every bit of it is kabuki theater, and they're liars. And Pam Bondi was the tip of that spear. So now you have Todd Blanche, which I want to play this video because you sent it over. Todd Blanche, this is, congratulating the FBI, which is one of the problems that I have. I pray that Todd is on the right path. I don't have enough information one way or another to say he's not, right? But
this is not a good video clip to indicate that he is.
No, this is not. Go ahead and play it.
This is a good reminder to Americans how we have to remain vigilant. The Department of Justice, federal law enforcement did a fantastic job disrupting what could have been a horrible tragedy and another act of terrorism on American soil. But at the end of the day, it's again a stark reminder that after all these years, there are still many out there and some in this country that seek to destroy it and destroy who we are. And so I'm proud of federal law enforcement, the Department of Justice for disrupting this plot, but it was good work, and we're going to keep on going at it.
Now, first of all, I don't know the woman that's on the left. She doesn't move at all, other than
I think she's a sex robot.
It didn't even look real. It didn't.
She
look
looks
real.
like she looks like she's out of Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. She's got machine gun giblies.
But this is my problem: is that they build this stuff because it hits the psychological triggers of the particular environment that they're in. Right? That's why they do this. I got to read this to you because this was my thoughts yesterday, 20 minutes of my thoughts. And I wrote this stuff down for a letter to the president, right? And I can't be the smartest guy in the room, but I'm starting to figure out that maybe I am at some of these rooms, right? And that's scary to me.
Yeah, it's not a good sign. But for any of us, when we think that when you start realizing, like, this is the moment that a lot of people had during COVID, where they were like, the noted scientists, the doctors, the attorneys, the experts in epidemiology, and all these other people are saying things that are obviously ridiculous. How is it that, like, just basic common sense cuts through all this? And so you get this moment, and I think people have become more and more comfortable with it. Some people inaccurately, but more and more of us have been like, my decisions are better than whatever it is you're recommending. So I'm willing to stand by myself and say, yes, I recognize that generally speaking, when you're in the minority, if you're the lone voice saying everyone else is wrong, you're probably a crazy person. But occasionally with certain people, you're the only sane person there and everybody else has just stopped thinking. And so, yeah, this continues to be the case. I'm sure of it. I guarantee you're the smartest guy in some rooms, and it's not a thing that feels great. That's the funny thing. Like, it's never like, well, thank God I'm the smartest guy in this room. It's like, oh shit, I'm the smartest guy in this room and nobody else is paying attention. What have we done?
Yeah. So I spent this time writing this, and I'm going to put it out as an article format. It'll be on my Substack so people can read it. And I don't anticipate that I'll be getting a whole lot of good vibes from it, because I'm thinking for myself, right? So that I'm going to have the people.
It won't be critically acclaimed.
No, it'll be. So I said this, and look, I have an unhealthy at times regard and or loyalty to President Trump, but I also I'm a man, right? I'm a man that just recognizes that you can't take anything from me. I am saved by the blood of Jesus. I frankly know where I'm going after this life. I don't live with a large degree of fear in that, and I just want to do the right thing. I want to love my neighbors. I want to, by the way, that was the Bible verse of the day. It's to love thy neighbors as yourself. That was a great verse to get on the Bible app this morning, so I needed that because I have a neighbor that I want to punch in the face at times. So it was really good for me to wake up to that. It was prophetic.
Do you remember do you remember the movie that called Bowfinger that had Eddie Murphy in it? Bowfinger, it was like Eddie Murphy plays like a Scientologist type guy, and then there's like Eddie Murphy also plays like a clone of himself. Like they're making a movie with Steve Martin. Mm-hmm. There's a really great line in there that you should remember. In addition to love thy neighbor, which is also really useful. Another mantra that Eddie Murphy's character has. He walked around. He says, "Even though I feel like I might ignite, I probably won't." Just because you think you're going to cook off, Joe.
Yeah, and look, I know
you get hot.
I don't know why. I don't know why though. I'm so calm in all of this. Like I feel like I'm not. There's nothing to get angry about anymore. Like I feel like I'm at the end.
No, you're like a duck. No, you're like a duck. Just calm and placid on the surface. Just furiously paddling underneath.
Yeah, I'm not really doing a lot of paddling either. I'm just kind of working the problem. All right, you ready
That's
for
the
this?
paddling.
I'm going to read this to you. Because I think you'll understand. I think you'll get what I'm laying down. I think everyone will get what I'm laying down right now, because I think I make it make sense to most people. I said, Mr. President, we need to talk. The relationship is broken. That's the title. Mr. President, let me ask you to think about something with me. When your wife is drinking too much and comes home at midnight, you sit her down and tell her that behavior is destroying the family. When your husband is cheating, you confront it. When your kids are doing drugs or refusing to meet the responsibilities you both agreed to, you hold them accountable. That's what a healthy relationship looks like. Right now, the American people are trapped in an abusive parent-child relationship with their own government. We're smacked around, told we don't understand, in order to accept whatever those powers decide. They claim it's for their own good, but the opposite is usually true. It does not matter if it's Republican or Democrats doing it. Both sides have betrayed us. I support you, sir. You took a bullet. You have endured more than most men ever could. But support does not mean silence. Real loyalty is not surrender. You attacked Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and others who had stood up and told you they believed you were wrong. That was the heavy hand. In a healthy relationship, I must be able to say you are wrong, Mr. President. That's not betrayal. That is loyalty to the principles and the people who put you in office. The single most important issue is election integrity. Tina Peters went to prison for nearly 2 years. J6 defendants were persecuted for seeking redress of grievances, and the persecution continues. We have mountains of evidence of fraud, enough that we should have already seen arrests and real accountability at every level. Instead, the system protects itself. People like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel seem more interested in attacking anyone that disagrees than in fixing the corruption. Lawfare continues. Cases that should be pursued are ignored. I have been through the information of Dominion voting systems and Eric Coomer. I've seen the lies and the judges who violated basic standards. Yet the legal strategy seems focused on minimizing damages instead of pursuing justice. Why? Why have so many Americans fought so hard, given their time and money, and stood up for their neighbors if we're just going to manage the damage instead of demand the truth? The election system was built over 20 years to subvert the will of the people. While we were distracted by TV dinners, big screens, and video games, rights were stripped community by community. Drugs flooded neighborhoods. Pornography and cultural decay followed. Dog whistles were created to control the masses. The media tells us, trust us, bro, while pushing a perverse and unethical culture. The judiciary is rotted to the core, and we're told everything takes time, but it doesn't. Judges operate with total immunity. FBI seems incapable of producing outcomes that do not serve its own interests. We still have roughly 20 million illegals in this country. Gas is over $4 a gallon. Food prices are crushing families. Property taxes make us renters in our own homes. And the national debt has surpassed $40 trillion, yet the numbers they give are largely theater. Mr. President, we cannot practice selective humanity. We see innocent women and children dying in Gaza. We see the obliteration of Lebanon. October 7th was horrific, with 6.5 hours for an IDF to respond. That became the excuse to turn an entire area to rubble. Who really benefits from all of this? Where's the benefit to the American people? Another country has taken the steering wheel of the ship called the USA, and Americans are left to ask if we ever really mattered. The ultimate betrayal of being told we were not allowed to think for ourselves. We were not allowed to question the relationship. We were not allowed a real seat at the table in our own country. We did not ask for any of this. We asked for free and fair elections. We asked for the ability to choose our own leaders instead of having them selected for us. While illegals and foreigners are placed in positions of trust and authority all over this country, while Americans whose families have fought and died for generations to build and defend this nation are pushed aside, there is a deep problem. That is why American people are not just frustrated, we feel betrayed, dishonored, and demoralized. We feel like slaves in a system designed for us to fail. Mr. President, what are we doing? We have begged you to have an honest conversation with the American people. Make your friends accountable, not your enemies. Deliver real accountability at every level, not just theater. I have smelled dirt. I know what comes next. I'm prepared for whatever happens. Whether I die tomorrow or 30 years from now, I'll continue to serve my country honorably and protect the people in my community. I'm not asking permission to speak. I'm not asking permission to hold power accountable. Neither should you. That was my 20 minutes yesterday. That's how I feel.
What do you think the result's going to be?
I don't know. I think probably more of the same. I think that it'll fall on deaf ears if the deaf ears are deaf, and I think that if he's hearing, it'll hear it. And I think that I think the president knows more than he says, and I think he's probably working on things, but I don't want to hear any more trust the plan. Plan's not working. Americans are dying. People are losing everything that they've ever worked for their entire lives. Judiciary is still stealing from people what was never theirs to take. And so I see us doing this now, and the only thing that I can see saving us at this point is a certain amount of density or a fraternity, right? That shows up together and operates and basically shuts down or destroys the very thing that is destroying our communities, which is this judiciary, which is this functioning body that has these henchmen, police officers, that basically push down and say, well, I'm just doing my job. That should never be the way our communities are run. Never. There should be there should be an ethical barometer by which we operate. It's just not there anymore. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think more of the same is the most likely outcome until it's not.
Until it's not. But
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so important for, I keep going through this process of, did anything I say in there, was it wrong? Was it?
No, the problem, this is the most difficult thing about Christian faith, because we're all egocentric, whether we like it or not. And we all think that what we're doing is important, and we all think that what we're doing and what we want to do is actually God's plan. This is the toughest thing. I just had a chat with a guy at church about this yesterday. Every normal wired man believes that it's his job to go out and solve the problems in his own life, to accurately, portray himself, and then also to project his power on the world as best he can to get the outcomes for himself, his family, his community, whatever. Right? I mean, that's the nature of the beast. That's what the testosterone side does versus the estrogen side. And the hardest thing in the world is recognizing that you don't get to do that on some things. You have to strive, except when you're not allowed to strive. And you're meant to go out and cause positive change, except when you're supposed to surrender. And there's nothing that says there's something uniquely special about America in any theological document that I've ever read. There's just nothing that says that's the case. We believe it's the case. We believe that we're the right and the shining city on the hill. We've always used those analogies. This country has long portrayed itself to be something that is very special and unique in the experience of the world. But how much of that is just hubris? How much of that is us believing something? And when the system is as rotted as it is, and it's quite rotted, and people who have come out of it tell you it all the time, how different are we than any other group of people that thought that they were uniquely special or chosen? And I don't know that we are. So the hardest thing in the world is recognizing it's like, yes, it'd be way better for you and me to see America pulled back to the thing that we think America was designed to be, that it aspires to be, or at least sells itself to be. And that would be great for our offspring. It'd be great for our communities. No question in my mind. And I have no idea if that's actually part of God's plan. And so I know that I can't affect any of it. I can't write a letter that the President of the United States is going to read. And even if he read it, I think there's almost no chance that it would change anything that he does. And I don't think there's any chance that what you're writing is going to change his mind. Maybe it does. I don't know how things work. But I also don't need it to work.
I don't need it to work either.
Yeah.
But I think that as I wrote it from the standpoint of allowing people the leeway to think for themselves and to be critical about what direction, what we're going, right? So it's written.
People should be able to at least say something that is contrary to what they're told they have to believe. If you see something with your own eyes, we don't have to say, hey, doubt your lying eyes. It's like, you're not a crazy person. You're seeing the things you're feeling, your financial situation, your hopes that are not being met. Those things are all real. Other people see them too. You're not a panican or a doomer or a black pillar or whatever other bullshit term that comes up with it. Like, no, these are not real things. You're just a person having an experience that is suboptimal while being promised something that was better, and it's not materializing. 66% of Americans, when polled, said that this administration is either the same or worse as the last. Now, a good chunk of them are it's the same, like 41% of them. And about a quarter of the people polled said their life was worse. So about less than a third of people said that this is better than it was previously. Well, the vast majority of people said it's the same or worse, or the same or better. Take your pick. You can put the same people in, but it didn't move dramatically for a good chunk of Americans. And the thing about running on a campaign called Make America Great Again, it's a nostalgic appeal. It says that there was a time when things were better, and we appeal to get back to that. We're going to do things like they did. So if you're going to do things to make America great again, wouldn't you think that smaller government was part of it? Because the government's done nothing but grow. And even though they have smaller federal employee headcount today than they did when Donald Trump came in 25, they've all been replaced by federal contractors because the spending has gone up. So it's not like they did it in real life. They just moved some things around, shells on the board. They moved the beans around that I was counting when I was at Warner Brothers. So they're just doing a tricky accounting game. We don't have this many employees. They're actually contractors. Well, shut your mouth. You're still spending our money on things that we don't want you to. And the pitch was, if you don't agree with what the president's doing or celebrate the things that are not actually objectively making your life better, then you're not being patriotic. And the problem is they've sold this idea. And Steve Friend said it to me the other day. He said patriotism is often conflated with nostalgia for what America was meant to be or what America was sold as. So we believe in the ideals, but they're not being recognized. And it shouldn't be a disqualifier of your opinion that sicks the entire media apparatus on you to say, I expected something. That thing was promised to me. I'm a good faith actor who wishes for the thing that you promised. I'm not here to just naysay. What I want you to do is what you said you were going to do, because that's what men of honor 100%. Do. And if you can't do it, I also want you to be a man and say, I'm unable to deliver. Americans have an incredibly forgiving heart. But again, there's nothing that says that whatever this decline that I think many people feel in this country, that it's declined from some peak of greatness, wherever that greatness was. Maybe you think it was the 50s, maybe you think it was the 70s, maybe you think it was the 80s or the 90s. Like everybody has a different experience based on their age. That was the peak America for fill in the blank, generation. And everybody thinks that it's probably a little bit less than now, unless you're living in one of the small fractions of people that are having a better experience. Many of your neighbors are not. And you would be very blind to look around and say, everyone I know is having a better life. Everyone I know is doing better today. I don't think that's true. I go to church with people. Some people are really, really struggling. Some people are struggling a little bit. Some people are doing slightly better, but not so much that it outweighs everybody in the congregation. And that's a pretty good indicator of where your communities are at. You shouldn't be thrown out of the polite conversation for saying, I'm not going to kiss ass. I'm going to say objectively, some things are better, but most of them are not. And there are promises that were made that are not being realized. And by the way, I had Anthony Aguero on my program on Friday, and he said that even the claim of the southern border being closed, he said it's not. He said, and we have a northern border that has Indians coming in and people from Russia and people from China because they've just changed tactics. They doubled down on the southern border with patrols and they're not being as lenient. So now people are just walking over open territory in the north, which previously was an unguarded border. So it's not even the one thing you could say that Donald Trump did great, which was that the border was shut. It turns out that's not even true if you were a little bit interested in looking into it. And people have done it and showed me. It's like, okay, that's disappointing. That's not me cheering failure. That's me being disappointed in failure because I really was hoping that we would do a U-turn and start heading in the right direction. Because action begets action and inaction begets inaction. What we did is took the foot. We didn't even necessarily hit the brakes on so many of the bad things. Well, our national debt proceeded up past 40 trillion. It didn't slow down. It actually has been, half of the national debt was added since Donald Trump's ride down the escalator, since his first assumption into office. It went from 19.95 trillion to over 40 since he was sworn in January of 2017. So that may be the case, but that number indicates a lot. Obviously, like 8 trillion of that is the United States government doing IOUs to the United States government for other programs. So a lot of these numbers are bizarre. Again, there are people that are making numbers, but the way that we keep track of these things, objectively, at some point, these things would be due. The bonds that we're selling to foreign governments, our country is not in a financially stable location. You could just look at what it costs to buy a vehicle. You can look what it costs to buy a home that a couple of years ago cost half what it costs today, and it didn't get better or nicer or improved. It just sat still and had someone living in it. And now 3-4 years later, you think that this $600,000 place is worth over $1 million. Like, you're a crazy person. That means our money is not worth anything. That's what it means. The home didn't appreciate. The dollar is worth dog shit. The money that I used to make when I was a kid used to be able to buy something that would run. You know, as a kid, how many kids can go out there on like a waiting tables job 3 nights a week and buy a car in cash that runs? They're not doing it because the value of the dollar is decreased. So you can work your ass off, but $100,000 isn't what it was. And not everybody's making 100 grand or more. So when your neighbors are struggling, it's because their buying power's gone down.
Yeah,
I watched bacon go from like $8.99 a pound to like $18 a pound at the same exact place where I shop at Costco. And you're like, holy shit, it's the same bacon. The bacon's not worth more. Your dollar's worth less. And all this stuff is not going the right direction. So when people see that shouldn't make you like PNG'd from polite conversation.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But I'm sitting here thinking about what you said about Trump, like it maybe changes things. I just want to be very clear that what I wrote was not for Trump. It was for people feeling like they had to pick a side. You don't have to pick a side. You don't have to pick a side. You can still support President Trump and the things that he does that you support, and still be critical of the things that you can't support. And when we get past this high school mentality, and that we can't criticize Israel because it's Israel, or we can't criticize.
This is coming from the White House, Joe. This is a White House tactic, and it's not necessarily Donald Trump per se, but he definitely plays in this game. If you're not with us, you're against us. If you don't vote for us, you're voting for the socialists. It's like, hey,
that
man,
means you're a slave,
you know what?
man. That means that's the slave deal. I'm out. I'm not a slave.
I'm out too.
I'm nobody's slave. Right?
That's a loser's mentality. And the reason why is because you and I came from an era, and even though you're a couple years older than I am, we come from a similar mentality where you can disagree with people and that doesn't make us not friends. You and I don't agree on everything.
No,
there are plenty of things that we would disagree on. Like, you probably think SIG's a really decent thing, and I think it might shoot you in the dick. And I'm just like, we can have disagreements. I have bitter disagreements with some of my friends on things that really matter. Is that a 365?
Yeah, it's 365.
Well, when you become a grown-up and you start carrying a Glock, then that's fine.
I'm not going to carry a Glock. I'm actually really good at this. And by the way, this is a...
I know, I just want to fuck with you.
I don't know if you can see this.
I just wanted to poke you right in one spot.
I'm not pointing it at myself either. I don't know if you can see it. It should...
Yeah.
See
what am I looking at? The rear.
See the green dot? Yeah.
Oh, I can. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, so it's a SAS. This is a SAS. So when you can get good enough where you can shoot where it has, basically recessed sights, you can still knock the center out, then you can come talk to me with it.
I put optics on everything because I trained to shoot really far. But the last time I sat and shot iron sights, I was shooting with my son's little Heritage Rough Rider, this little 22 that I bought for Bo. Yeah. And it was the first time I ever shot it. I loaded it up, took the first shot, and I was like, oh, okay, I see where I'm at. 100 yards, 12 by 12 target. And then I put the other 5 rounds, emptied all the other cylinders at 100 yards with a little 22 iron sight piece of garbage. So I can shoot I'll shoot the center out of your target.
Yeah. Look, I'm, what's really funny about this is I've had.
What's funny is it doesn't have an optic, is what you meant.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is close combat, right? This is 15, 20 feet, right? If you're going to get close enough, boom, I'm going to put you down. If it's any longer than that, just go upstairs in my office, and I've got an AR-15 that is suppressed. And if you get inside, don't worry about it. I'll wreck it, Ralph. Same thing goes for my home, right? I'm not going to reach for my pistol if something's happening. That's not the first gun I'm going to go for. And I promise you,
the odds are low that you need to take a high gravity shot from distance, but they still exist. And so my mentality has always been like, I train my handguns out to 50 for headshots. Because if you're not shooting at 50 yards on a 6-inch target, if you can't make that shot, it means that your degree of precision at 20 yards is lower and your degree of precision at 7 yards is lower. There's times when you want to just pull it out and, there's something really close. And most engagement distances are 21 feet and in. Fine, I get it. Yeah. I used to stand on an Indian reservation when I had a pistol on me, and there were people that had deer rifles that were 50 or 100 yards up the road that might decide, oh, that's a Fed, I'm going to take a shot at him. And I didn't want to, and I didn't have a rifle on me that I walked when I knocked on doors. So I used to shoot my pistol out to 200 yards on torso targets.
Oh, I know you did. I know you did. That's the
because that's my mentality. My mentality is always overtrain. Anyway, so long story. I'm just going to give you shit about carrying a SIG because you never know about the SIGs, man. They do weird things. Again, we can have a vicious disagreement about SIGs, And we would still go to
So
the range
fun.
and shoot together, and we still be friends,
100%.
of course. We could have a vicious disagreement about a political topic. There are very few that are like, oh, those are disqualifying. I could never talk to you again. In fact, I don't know that there's any political talk. We would go, you could say something and I'd go, I don't agree. We found the fringes of where we agree. So what? We
Yeah, I
agree
mean, look,
80% of the time. We agree 87%. Maybe we agree 94% of the time. There's
But if
going to
you
be some things we don't agree on.
If you called me at 2:00 and said I got a problem, I'd be on the flight out there and I'd be there by 6:00. Right?
The difference that we are seeing right now is that somebody says, hey, I don't like the way that this political candidate, who is not me, who doesn't even know I exist, is doing things. And then somebody else who also is not known to exist by this political candidate, those people say, you're dead to me and I'm going to badmouth you to everybody that I can speak to.
Exactly.
And so you are no
That's
longer
my
allowed
problem.
to have a public opinion. And it's like, you know what? Fuck you, arbiters. Fuck the gatekeeping nonsense that you're doing.
Yeah.
It's really disgusting. If you want to have some sort of like rational thought where you say, I'm such a good thought leader that I can defend all my positions, then have a discussion about it. Or just say, other people feel otherwise. I feel this way. And these are the reasons why. That's not a reason to go out there and shit on somebody else who otherwise agrees with you 80, 90% of the time. But for all the big tent talk that you got out of the Republicans as Donald Trump was coming in, they were bringing in hookers. They were bringing in OnlyFans models. They were bringing in people that were the president's wife is pro-abortion. They're bringing in people that have like real serious moral disagreements with those of us that are conservative. And the answer was, fine, if we're going to get things that otherwise move things forward so that our babies can live a better life, then that's the best thing. And now we're being told, actually, there is a purity test. And the purity test is you have to say that every time this man farts, it doesn't stink. Well, the farts stink. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's affecting my neighbors, and it's affecting my community, and it's affecting.
Correct.
It's having a serious impact on our ability to survive. Right?
It's causing a lot of and we haven't even seen the worst of it yet, because when we've been slowly bleeding out the strategic oil reserve right now on the oil prices. So we've been artificially knocking that thing down. Wait till that goes away. And it could happen beginning of the winter, a couple of months from now. But we're at 50% or we're a little bit less than 50% of the high point of the strategic oil reserves. And we actually were gaining under Biden in 2024. We were gaining under Trump in 2025. And then we've actually gone back down and we've surpassed the lowest level the Biden administration took us to as of the last month. So we are now bleeding out our tactical advantages that we were building up. Like we're actually spending the buffer zone that was being built up in the first year, and we're doing it in a deeply unpopular war. And it has all the downstream consequences. 1, you said no new wars. 2, people don't like foreign entanglements. Go figure. That's just a thing. 3, they're not really crazy about seeing their cost of living go up. And everything is downstream of transportation costs. When you start adding to fuel prices, then everything gets more expensive. Building materials get more expensive. Your ability to buy groceries gets more expensive. Your ability to go and do your own job gets more expensive. So your day-to-day costs go up in every single way. It's the one thing that you really shouldn't be screwing with, and we didn't need to voluntarily get into this conflict. We just didn't. And every other president has not done it on purpose because they were like, yeah, okay, I got it. That's a bad idea. He made a tactical error, and the guy can't actually admit that this was a terrible decision. Imagine Donald Trump announcing, you know what? I got hoodwinked. I was told it was going to be easy. It didn't happen. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. We're going to bomb any facility we see we're going to take them from Ohio. We're going to fly it from a military base they'll never see coming, and we'll circumnavigate the globe to drop it, but we're not going to keep this fight up. We're done with this. So Iran, you've been warned. If you build a nuclear facility, we have really good intelligence. We'll bomb you. Otherwise, have at it. Open the straits. Adios. Sorry for the invasion. The end. You could stop it today.
You could.
It would be the right move. That would be the right move.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, look, the people.
You're already exposing that the American military cannot do the thing that he said it could do. And every day that we sit there longer, we just basically show other third-rate powers. The United States does not have the ability to come in and topple your government necessarily if you have an ideologically aligned people. And we thought there were dissidents in Iran that were going to overthrow it, and it didn't happen. So it's like, just admit bad intel when it happens. It happens to everybody.
Yeah, the bigger issue is that we misunderstood who was running the show. Right?
They even told us right away, though. The crazy thing is that they told us that it was decentralized command, that it was actually not being run from a centralized, committee of people. So this was actually something that Marco Rubio stated in his first public address describing the interactions that were going on in Epic Fury. He
Yeah,
said
but this leads us back to the same person that we get our intel from, and that's Israel, right? So
some of it,
Israel
for
is
sure.
giving us this intel, and turns out that that they're not the smartest people in the room, and they didn't put us in a good position. And it
Well, they
almost,
are smart, but it's because they're serving their own interests, because Israeli interests are not the same as the United States. And although
but that's my point. It makes President Trump look bad. And so they're having these negotiations. They're having these negotiations, and you can already tell the negotiations are happening. Like, hey, we need you to do this, this, and this. And they're like, and we need to do this. And we're over there fighting on Iran. And I believe that Iran did have the ability to want to say that they wanted to hurt American interests. That is true. It's happened for 5 decades.
Yeah,
right?
they've always wanted that. But the want and the ability to do is very, very different. And when we're in the region and we're in their theater, then yeah, they had the ability to project. But how many sleeper cells have been activated from Iran in the United States in the last 6 months since we've started this conflict? How many Iranian drones have flown off some ship hiding up? None. Zero. You know how? Because the only people the FBI is busting is a freaking fat lady who would put on a sheet and was running around in Albany getting a box of nails. So that's the top terror arrest.
It becomes all theater.
It is theater.
We get back to the fact that it's all theater. It's not real. Like, none of it's real. Our budget's not real. What the FBI is doing is not real. They can't take credit for the crime coming down. They're not really looking out for the best interests of the people. The CIA is actually involved. Our elections are actually garbage. COVID did actually come out of a lab in Wuhan, China. We did actually fund it with gain of function funding that we actually sent over there. Ukraine is a proxy war.
And nobody's going to pay for it. Nobody's going to go to prison for what they did to this country.
But it's as if they planned it ahead of time. Oh yeah, Fauci has a pardon. It's as if they planned it. They knew what they were doing. This is literally a script. And the script is pretty easy to look at. It's pretty easy to see. And there's no heroes to this, because the only people that become...
Here's the crazy thing, Joe. Like, there's no kinetic outrage because the temperature's been turned up slowly and gradually. And outside of COVID, where they bumped the thermostat a couple times, too many times, where people went like, oh shit, I see what you're doing. It just got really hot in here. Then they did things like go after J6ers. So for all the people that stood up and said, hey, I don't want to do this, like whatever, they said, well, let me show you what happens to people that actually do want to do something. Did people on January 6th do dumb things? Several of them did. I'm sure of it. But the number of people that actually did violence on that day numbered in the low hundreds. And there was potentially 500,000+ people there. So the fraction of human beings there is like what, like a tenth of a percent or less, maybe 100%
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Just a shockingly small fraction of people. Even compared to what I saw in Portland, there were as many violent people in Portland as there were on the Capitol on January 6th. And they operated for 100+ days in a row just before that happened. So certain people got made an example of. They said, if you step up, look, you can be mad at the federal government in places where you're allowed to be. That's a free fire zone. That's Portland. And we love our activists, is what I was told by FBI supervisors there. We love our activists and we love our free speech. I was like, oh shit, why am I here then? Meanwhile, if you want to go and voice your opinion very loudly or gather in a big rally when it's freezing cold outside in Washington, D.C., then you and your family may be destroyed. If you want to show up and say, hey, my business got shut down because you assholes shut down the government and you shut down the economy, whatever the hell that means, and you stopped allowing any transportation and you completely isolated everybody in my family, and so now I no longer have a way to make a living. How about those people? Then you might go to prison for that. And so we found out exactly what people were allowed to be upset about and what they weren't allowed to be upset about. And like I said, it's been slow. The outrage has grown for some people, but the number of people, it's not enough. You know, it's just not critical mass, whatever that looks like, of people that are feeling the same way that you and I are talking about right now.
No, I totally agree with you.
And there's plenty of people that says, well, you know what? The Joe and Kyle's are the problem. It's actually not a problem that we lied about stuff. It's not a problem that nobody's going to go to prison for doing evil things. It's not a problem that we're having our economy and our experience of what the American dream is slowly eroded. We're giving it away to foreigners and illegals. Yeah, that's not the problem. It's not a problem that your vote doesn't actually mean anything. That's not the problem. The problem is that Joe noticed and Seraphin's talking about it, and those guys are a problem because you're not allowed to do that. It's like, spare me.
And herein lies the bigger problem across the board. Well, I got a couple other things I want to look. I loved having this conversation with you because now I've really got to the bottom of the fact that first of all, my therapy is done. I read what I thought over a couple of days ago, so I got that. Nobody's going to read it. It's not going to make a difference to anyone except for me. But I did want to show you this picture of Bongino and Sean Ferris.
It's going to be very upsetting. I've seen this. It keeps showing up in my feed, but carry on. Yep.
It's really good. Go ahead, put it up there with us. Oh, you have to press the button though. Press the video. Press the video.
Press the play. Oh, don't press the play.
Oh man, they're eating corn. That's not the one that's really good.
This is the way Faga eats corn.
There's one where it's actually a video.
I know.
They're actually kissing.
I don't need to see it. I've seen it twice today already. It keeps popping up from places. People animating it.
And so look, I don't. Two very untalented people who've never built anything in their life. I really don't have a lot of. I don't really care. And they, by the way, they're part of the block brigade, the butternuts brigade. They like to block everyone that disagrees with them. So I got blocked from everybody now, even from the impersonator. But I do want to show you this. This is a leftist that literally called for the assassination of President Trump and others. So this is someone that was allowed to put something out there. I want to show you this. Play it.
All you are just retarded. Y'all are all pussies. Y'all are all stupid. It is as simple as we all grab guns. We all group together. And we all rush the White House and actually kill Trump and all of Secret Service. We aren't doing this pussy shit before where we just storm it. No, we are killing. We have to kill. There is no other way. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this shit online. We have to kill them. There is no other way.
I mean, you're welcome. Don't bet.
Fed. That feels like what you would say if you were trying to lure some feds in.
I mean, it's like.
Yeah, that's bait. That's how that meme works.
But nobody arrested him. Nobody arrested him
yet.
Like no arrest. Come on.
Wait till there's a slow news. Because here's the thing: does that guy have the willingness, the ability? He doesn't even know a gun he's going to use because he doesn't own a gun. We have to get guns. We have to get a bomb. Maybe I could buy some nails and create a bomb with some acetone. This is where these people are. So again, I'm kind of a person who says free speech should be free and stupid speech should be just like, we should just make fun of him for being retarded.
Ridicule him.
Yes, because that's not a serious threat. That guy's not a threat to the president. He's just a dummy. Does he need to go to prison for that? Probably not. He probably needs to be spanked 12 years ago when he was a child and his dad let him down. So now he says dumb things on TikTok.
Just get to mutual combat and just get to the place where he can just, all right, come on, let's go.
I'm willing to throw hands with Kash Patel if he wants to do something. We could make a White House 250.
He can't fight.
I know
Kash
he can't
Patel's
fight.
He's never been in a fight in his entire life.
I'm willing. I'm just saying. I'm willing to wear a clothespin on my nose too.
So my friend, his name's Ben. Ben's a ex-MMA guy out of I don't forget where he lives. I think it's Arkansas and Florida, one of the two, both.
Mm-hmm. They're very similar, Arkansas and Florida.
I mean, depends
Great
on the
beaches.
day. But he was a champion. He was a UFC champ. Like Ben's amazing. And so we did this thing for Rise Up Kings where we all go together and it's a Christian thing where you go and spend 3 days there. They basically beat the hell out of you for 3 days. And by the time you're done, you have scabs on your back and you got a bunch of other stuff that's happening. You have to sit in a cold deal and swim across a swamp and run through the mud. Anyway, it was awful. But in the middle of it, you have to box someone. So who do you think they picked for me to box? Ben.
Pro.
Right? And I was like, all right. So here's what's going to happen. You got 1 minute. So what do you think I'm going to do for 1 minute?
Just throw yourself at it.
I'm literally going to make sure that I threw punches like crazy. Like bam, 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 bam. And I saw the video of me later and he's like, you rung my bell through the glove. And I was like, well, you know, you had an MMA guy, and yeah, I can fight, but I'm not going to fight a guy that's a champ. Like, I'm not going to give him a chance. So for 1 full minute, I don't care how tired I was.
I was just all adrenaline, just all fear-based. Like, because the alternative is that you get knocked.
I was not, I mean, but I was not going to let it happen. Right? Anyway, it was fun. Super fun. It was fun for 1 minute.
That third minute would have been a real challenge.
That third minute would have been, or even the second minute would have been a challenge. But super good guy, man. One of the craziest, most he's definitely a hillbilly, but he's like one of the coolest people you'd ever meet. So Ben, if you're listening to this, hey, God bless you, brother. I hope to see you soon. So I want to last thing. I got to show this to you. This is an interaction between two leftists in Portland.
Good.
Okay. This just shows you how many mental health issues I think our country is crazy. I think there's a certain portion, like 10%.
Bro, there are thousands of women supporting a woman who strangled her children to death.
How about that?
It's the natural outgrowth of abortion support. It's like at some point they're going to support killing babies too that are actually born. There's not a difference mechanically in the person. There's not a difference morally in their value. So this is just late term abortions to them, crazy people, and they're supporting each other for that. It's nuts, but it's a very simple outgrowth, I think, of where our society has placed our values. And you can trace them back to really simple societal things on that level. It's like the normalization of divorce, the normalization of abortion. Both of those things have really devalued family and people. And so, yeah, of course, think about every apartment you've ever seen that's being built right now. What do they advertise? Beautiful dog park. How many of them have a park for freaking children to get on the swings? None of them. Freaking goose egg. And it's cheaper. It's cheap to put on a decent park. But they don't do that because that's not where our values are at. And how many cities are out building dog parks when they're not building kids parks? A bunch.
A lot.
So it's very interesting to see where societies put their money is where their value is. And what they valued right now is not that. I watch advertisements like as a cultural statement on a regular basis. And the shows that are marketed to people that are me, dad in his 40s with my wife, we're sitting there watching. It's multi-skin tone looking couples, multiple couples at a time, all childless, all running around in a luxury car or on a cruise ship. And it's like, where are their fucking children? Because if I'm going somewhere, my kids are going with me.
If they want to kill off the population.
But they're not valuing that.
This is what you have to have.
They've sold you on the idea that children are 1, inconvenient, and 2, unnecessary, and 3, maybe it might be immoral to have children because the planet can't support them. And none of those things are true. None of those things are accurate.
But
that's what's being sold. And how many people have bought it?
Yeah. All right, let's check out these two leftists.
I love them. I already love them.
I don't have time to waste on colonizers. She told me to go back to where I came from.
You're driving hard.
Do you see that?
Because we don't drive this way in Oregon. We're kind and we make space.
Okay.
And as someone who's from here as well, I'm so tired of people driving like you just did.
All right, get out of my face.
Constant.
Get out of my face.
Admit you're fucking wrong and that it's not a race thing. Admit that you're driving.
Admit you're white. Admit you have a colonizer mindset.
It is not about race.
Yeah, tell them it is. Yell at me.
It is not about race.
Yeah,
it is.
That's
the problem here. If you want things to change, when you
so it's on me.
Do
so it's
not
on me.
call the race card.
Don't do not call the shut up. And don't even get in her face. Do not get in her face.
You're taking out your pain and oppression on me right now. Stay out. Stay out of it. We are, and it's important. It's important. Give it a moment. If you want anything to change.
If you want, shut up. It's not on me to change. It's on you and your colonizer mindset. So get the out of my face now, you white lady. You white lady.
I'm as angry as you
are. Then get out of my face because I'm done with this conversation.
Then you'd be walking away.
Colonizer.
You know there's work to be done here.
It's not on me. It's on you and your people. I'm not taking any directions from a white lady.
Everyone needs to hear how
I love this. This is my favorite.
It's not about this. It's not about what just happened.
Get out of my
drive away.
Why can't you just walk? You're in my space. You're in my
Get out of his
space.
space.
Not in my space.
Get out. You're breathing my air. You
Stop breathing his air.
Get out of my face!
Drive away.
And don't give me those white tears and a fake white guilt and a fake condescending look. You don't know the pain of my people. So get out! Get out!
I'm going to stand here with you until you walk away. Because what you did was wrong, and then you made it about race. And that's...
You told me, she told me to get back to where I came from. Where am I from? I'm from Warm Springs, France! Where she and her white colonizer mindset put me in. Oh, I don't care. Oh, I don't care. Put it on the internet. What is the reality? She told me to come back to where I came from just because I made a simple mistake.
I don't think she meant where
you pulled in front of my car in my lane.
Yeah, just to get around the car.
For what you did.
It's really exciting.
All right, I'm out. I'm out.
He's out. Oh, that's his car. I thought he was yelling into the car. That is his car.
I hope you shut the fuck.
And I hope you.
No, that's not how you close. Get your seatbelt. Get your seatbelt.
Channel your anger in a productive way.
Oh, there we go.
It's not on me. It's not on me to channel my anger.
Get back. Oh, yeah.
It's not a good representative of the human being you are. I didn't condescend to you once. Admit when you're wrong.
You alright?
I'm okay, but that's not the point.
The point is now she
sorry.
really is hoping that he's going to come back around so they can have a bedroom experience. I
Oh
feel
my
like
gosh, look at the car. Did you guys see the car? Put the car back up. Put the car back
Dude,
up.
they're all like that. Okay, so two things. One, that was foreplay, and they're actually a couple. They just do this in public sometimes, and then they go make up for it.
I think
by
you're
not
right.
having children.
I just kept thinking about it. You're colonizer.
There's a lot of sexual tension there, and I think that's what ended up playing out at the end. So they drove off, and then they circled around. And they went to the parking garage, and then they went upstairs, which is gross. I don't want to imagine that. Two, the other option is that could have been solved by a grown-up man who punched him in the gut, slapped her in the face, tapped him in the nuts, and said, "I'm out." And then everybody could have driven home.
Come on, but
Alhamdulillah.
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 Okay, yeah, dude, they all look. I probably met this woman actually while I was in Portland. She looks like that.
Interdependence.
Interdependence.
What else is on the back?
Scroll to the right. Scroll to the right. Scroll to the right.
Can you make it bigger?
Make it bigger.
Can you go
enhance?
Make a bit. Yeah, enhance.
Billy, enhance. Billy.
You can't.
It's not working.
I'm trying to read it.
Look at that high-speed light system she's got on the rack up there on that thing.
Anyway, I would say plead.
I would have nut popped the dude who was crying about being an Indian. 100%.
Visualize peace. XYZ love. Oh my gosh. These people actually exist.
Dude, there's a whole city of them. Seattle's the same way.
Oh, these people are. There's something wrong with them. Like
Joe,
it's like a whole.
Real.
It's
that says read. Visualize world peace.
Let's say read or plead.
Read.
Visualize world peace. Yeah, well, I didn't get there. You just screwed that up.
She pissed off the Indian.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't.
Anyway.
All right. Well, bro, it's been fun. It's been real. It's been fun.
I was pretty into it. I like that fight.
Yeah, that was a good fight. I thought they were going to play slap. I thought they were going to slap each other. He's like, "Get out of my face."
They do later, but it's for private.
People are just retarded.
We can have a good time laughing at it, can't we?
And by the way, both of them have a degree in basket weaving underwater that they went on to get for $200,000 in debt from.
But they both have shitty breath holds because they're not athletes. They can't hold their breath very long, so they got to do scuba. Meanwhile, my children will be warlords over their families.
Sooner or later, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
What? Post for oil reserve. What is this? What do we got here? Hold on.
I don't know, but I smell dinner. You smell dinner?
Yeah. No, I got to go. You got to go too.
I can smell it.
Oh, our oil reserves are at the lowest point since 1982. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was trying to tell you.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's actually lower than that today than it was on when that post was done. Because we're bleeding it out. Look at that line. It's the same steepness of the Biden administration. So the first line you see that drops down is Biden, and then that beginning of that climb up, it actually is climbing up under Biden's administration, and the second half of the climb at the end of the bit there is under Trump, and then right when we go in, they decided to tank it. So for that line, that straight down line is the last 6 months.
It looks like they're just trying to destroy and make us weaker.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make any sense, right?
We'll have to figure that out another time because I don't know the answer. I don't know that there's an answer to that one, Joe. The why has always been the question. It's like, what the hell? Who benefits? As my wife always asks. No idea.
We did not show the picture of the woman that had the bomb that was taking a picture.
I think you did.
No, we did. We missed it.
Grimace?
Yeah.
There she is.
There she is.
She's from McDonald Land.
This is the woman that the FBI
show the real version of it, and it's like uncanny.
It's
if you transfer between. Yeah, it's really well done.
Look, oh, wait.
Bro.
Yeah. It's, look, it really feels.
I called her Grimace the entire time I did the show on her.
So, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. All right, bro, it's so great to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope to see you soon next week. I got to come up, or you got to come up, or I got to go down, or whatever.
We'll figure it out.
All right. God bless you.
All right, buddy. Talk soon.
Yeah. All right, we're done. That's the end of the show. It's so fun to have you. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, tune in and more. All the cool stuff. Make sure you hang out with the cool kids and hit the share button, do all that stuff that you guys got to do. Look, I think you need to do this for me. You need to stay. You need to understand what we're dealing with, and just keep everything dry. Just keep it dry, and just make sure that you love on your family. And when the time comes, we are going to need some density. So we'll talk about that next week as well. So, yeah, and all the people watching on Roku, it's nice to see you guys. I walked into a place that they were messing around with the TV, and they put me up on Roku, and I walked in, and I was like, you guys watch this? And they're like, yeah. And she came out, was laughing. It was a restaurant, and said, no, we just put it up there to mess with you. So yeah, let's pray it out. Listen, at the end of the day, it's but God. But God will figure it all out. It's not some master plan by a bunch of people walking around. And certainly, if you can't get to the bottom of what it is that we're all feeling, it's pretty the same. Democrat, Republican. I mean, I saw it. The Dan Bonginos and the Eric Coomers of the world that downplayed or gave us a thumbs down on Rumble. You're welcome to do that. You're petty little bitches. That's what petty little bitches do, is they hide. So at least come out in the comments and talk to people so they can smack you around and treat you like the little punk that you are. But as I say that, I'm going to pray and say, we got to get to the bottom of all the stuff we're dealing with. And that is going to take unlikely alliances between good people, some that have been fooled and have woken up, and others that are just trying to figure out how we hand back the reins to our children and future generations to do better things. Yeah, there you go. So, Father God, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Thank you for Kyle. Thank you for his immense knowledge and for his ability to stand in the gap and to continue to be in this fight. Father, we're grateful for the truth, and we're grateful for the ability to speak truth and to talk about what we're facing as a country. And we're only 5% of the population globally. So we know that there's another 7.5 billion people out there that are having to deal with the same thing we're having to deal with here, which is poor leadership and corrupt and evil people. So, Father, I just ask you to give us the strength to be able to stand together, and that we can see clearly in front of us what the outcome should be and how to get there. How do we come together and get to a place where we save our country and restore you to every walk of life, and that we reject team evil and throw it out the door it came in. So, Father, please help us to be able to support our leaders. We ask that you just wrap your arms around President Trump, not his neck either, just as around President Trump, and just protect him and give him the ability to do right by the American people. Give us all the ability that we may take a deep breath and help press us in a direction that is actually good for our people, your people, the American people. And frankly, there's so many other people around the world that need, that rely on what we do in America for how it adversely affects those other nations. So, Father, I just ask you to be with our leadership and to give them the ability and the desire and the means to do good and to do what is right by the people. So I say these things, Father, humbly, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. All right, so I will see you guys later. Have a great day, and it was a great show. Had a good time. Thank you. See you soon.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real, no more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Tame nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave